Excuse me. Second, while we get going here, gonna get set up. Bear with me. I just got to do some editing. Hold on. Just hold on one sec. All right. We're going to get going in a few minutes. Bear with me. All right. I'm going to play some music here. Some of Donald James again. I like this track. We just play this for a few minutes while I get some things adjusted here on the Zoom and wait for Raven and Kevin. All right. Bear with me. It's gonna take a few minutes to get up running.
I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity.
Give me a few minutes.
Taking my body possess, calling my God to the west, taking my body possess, calling my taking my body possess, calling my God to the west, taking my body possess, reading the thoughts of my enemies, catch us slipping, I know that they mad at me, but I can't ever stop and I won't ever stop, cause the shit is real different. Shit is my heart, I love it. It ain't real, then I gotta just do it. If you know it, no living is hell, but I'm going so hard I won't fail. Boss up, get to flexing, working for a blessing, Who said that I'm stressing, They mad, they pressing, They reaching, they stretching, I'm living like comfortably. Hella bounce to the breeze, hella bounce to the breeze. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit. Energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. Calling my god to the west, taking my body possess, calling my god to the west, taking my body possess, calling my god to the west, taking my body possess, calling my god to the west, taking my body possess. I done sacrifice hella shit for this shit. Fuck you motherfuckers talking about. We're living like
We'll get started in a few minutes. Just give me a few minutes.
On that side. Fuck on my face with that energy. Ay, yo. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity.
tight. I'm gonna play another track from another artist while I'm loading this stuff. All right, bear with me. I'm just gonna let that play.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let it play. So I can get this done.
I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. Call it my taking my body possess, calling my God to the west, taking my body possess, calling my God to the west, taking my body possess, reading the thoughts of my enemies, keeps on slipping, I know that they better be. And I won't ever stop, cause the shit is what giving them music, cause the shit is my heart, and I love it, it ain't real, then I gotta just dub it, if it's going on living is hell, but I'm going so hard it won't fail, boss up, get to flexing, working for a blessing, who said that I'm stressing, they mad, they pressing, they reaching, they stretching, I'm living like comfortably, hella pounds to the breeze, hella pounds to the breeze, I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy, welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. Calling my god to the west, taking my body possess, calling my god to the west, taking my body possess, calling my taking my body possess, calling my God to the west, taking my body possess. I done sacrifice hella shit for this shit. Fuck you motherfuckers talking about. We're living like gods on this side, you living like frauds on that side. Fuck on my face with that energy. Yo, I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. Calling my god to the west, taking my body possess, calling my god to the west, taking my body possess, calling my god to the west, taking my body possess, calling my god to the west, taking my body possess.
Say lines or not. Okay. Hold on one second. Let me see if it pulls it up.
Run that up, Rico. Yeah, yo, I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity.
All right,
I am
we're
a
good
god so
now.
godly, embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly,
All right.
embody, spirit and energy. Welcome this entity. I am a god so godly, embody, spirit and energy.
All right.
Welcome this entity. Calling my god to the west, taking my body possess, calling my god to the west, taking my body possess, calling my god to the west, taking my body possess, calling my god to the west, taking my body possess.
Shout out to Brother Donald James.
Track. Never stop and I won't ever stop cause the shit is what giving them music, cause the shit is my heart and I love it. It ain't real then I gotta just dub it. If you know when I'm living is hell, but I'm going so hard I won't fail.
All right, greetings. I want to welcome everybody to the show. Appreciate you guys' patience for getting me a few minutes to load all that stuff. Obviously, when you're streaming it on Zoom, it takes a few more minutes to set up, so I appreciate that. We should have Brother Jack, Kevin, and Raven joining us shortly. I'll send them the invite. So we'll wait for them to, all three of them to show up shortly. While I'm waiting for that, let me just go through some important announcements. Some of it I posted on the social media pages that you should have seen today here on YouTube in the community section. Also posted on the Primordial Chaos 9 on Instagram. And also on the Primordial Chaos Facebook. So we have made a final decision. I know people have been emailing about the Journey of the Black Adept Conference 3. Actually, hold on, I forgot to go live on these platforms. Let me go live on Facebook. My bad. All right, we're live on Facebook, Primordial Chaos. And hold on one sec. Can't remember all these damn steps and shit. And let's go live for the first hour on Instagram. I'll just do the first hour now once it cuts off. So we're live on Instagram. If you are live on Instagram after the first hour, you're going to have to come over to the Primordial Chaos YouTube or the Primordial Chaos Facebook. Just do the first hour on there. It just becomes too much. So again, we have made the final decision on the Journey of the Black Adept Conference 3. We will do it virtually online. It's just still too many iffy questions as far as getting it done as a live event. It's just not going to be possible. So we are going to do it virtually on Zoom. It will be a 3-day event. We are going to do the exact format that we have been doing, over the last 3 years. This will be the third year we do it. It'll be a 3-day event. All day Friday, a ritual in the evening, all day Saturday, workshops and classes, Friday and Saturday during the day from about 9 to 3, 9 to 4. And then there's a ritual on a Friday and Saturday night. And then Sunday, I'll finish it up with a question and answer class with myself. You'll be able to ask whatever questions about the conference, the material we covered, or it's basically an open question and answer session. You could ask questions on anything that you want to ask, okay? If you're interested in registering for the event to get full access, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com, all right? And I'll send you the information how you can register and sign up for it, and it gives you access to all 3 days of the event, including the rituals, which you can virtually participate in the rituals with us if you decide to, okay? So that's how we're going to do that event. Also, I only have a few spots left. If you are interested in doing a workshop or a presentation on that Friday or Saturday, and again, the event is October 30th to November 1st. So if you are interested in doing a presentation or a workshop, shoot me an email. Let me know what it is you want to present so I can see it. And again, it's first come, first serve. We ain't going in any particular order. So whoever pretty much comes forward and presents first, and that's how we're basically given the spot. So we only have a few more spots left. I believe 3 or 4. I think it's 3. So shoot me an email if you would like to do a workshop on that Friday or Saturday, a class, a presentation, and just get with me on what it is you want to present. All right. So that's going to take place October 30th. It's going to be a great conference because it was last year. It's a great dialogue session. There'll be question and answer panel discussions. It's going to be very informative. We're going to be covering a lot of material. So it's definitely a 3-day event. That's definitely worth your time. And just to give you an idea, for all 3 days, the event's going to cost $75 for all 3 days. Full access to all the classes, workshops, and the rituals. You just need to send me a link, an email. I'll send you the information. Once you pay, you can pay via PayPal. Then you will get a itinerary. We will email everybody that signs up a program and an itinerary so you know what times the workshops and the classes are and the rituals and things of that nature. All right, so I wanted to put that out there. I did make that announcement. On the other platforms, you can find all the information also on, again, Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, Primordial Chaos Facebook, and also right here on the YouTube community page. All right, also number 2, tomorrow, for those who are members of the Patreon page, Patreon members only, we are doing the Necromancy Rite of Ampu AKA Anubis. That's tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If you are a member of the Patreon page, I'll see you guys there tomorrow at 3 o'clock. If you have not checked out the Patreon page, greatly encourage you to patreon.com/Beniti. There's several tiers on there, different levels. Also, if you would just like to support the channel, there's a tier 1 level support. It's $5 a month. That's just to show your support of the channel and what we do here on Primordial Chaos. So you can just simply sign up for something simple like that if you choose. That's tier 1. And it's basically just to say, appreciate what you do and the support. So all that you can find at patreon.com/Beniti. And outside of that, there's a tier I'm sure you find to your liking that might suit your needs and what you're trying to do on the path, including, as I've said before, the Red Magus Mentorship Program, which is a one-on-one program that I work with you personally and help you develop your path to self-mastery, how you work at witchcraft, your black magic, your rituals. But there's a step-by-step process. It's work. And as I said before, don't waste your time if you're not going to put in the energy and the effort and the work, and vice versa. I don't want you wasting my time. But check it out, patreon.com/Beniti. Also, next Saturday, the 3rd, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Ancient Egyptian Path of the Vampire. Okay, that class will take place next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 to 6:30 p.m. You can pay for that class via PayPal. It is $55 when you send your PayPal and the PayPal notes. Please include your email address and the name so we can send the information, the link to the correct email address. All right, so that class will take place next Saturday, 3 Eastern Standard Time. That class is open to everybody. Anybody can sign up for that class. That's one of the open classes I do that is available to anybody that wants to take the class. I highly encourage you to check it out. We will be doing visualization. Let me let Raven in the room, still waiting for Kev. Highly recommend you to check it out when you get a chance. If you haven't taken one of my private classes, for the time and the small investment you make, you're definitely going to get a lot out of it. All right, and that'll take place on the 3rd. Okay, and last, if you are interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, could be reading with the Clip-Pop, which there's several different kinds I do. Email me. I can send you the information on that. Shadow readings, which deals strictly with doing shadow work and covering stuff in reference to the shadow or the hidden self. Not a reading for the weak. It's very personal, detailed, intense. And it's a good place to start if you want to know how to do shadow work, how to get started on the path, and really what you need to work on a personal and individual level. And then also readings with, as you see, I got my mamacita with me behind me there, Santa Muerte and the Holy Death. I do readings with the spirits of the dead in Santa Muerte. That's my mom. I just got her today, working on her. Still got some more work to do with her. I just felt like I needed her to be here with this for this particular video today. So any of the aforementioned or a consultation, again, is just basically you can use that for whatever you want, to discuss whatever you want on the path. If you have personal questions, need information and guidance, consultation can be used for whatever you want. All right. I think I basically covered majority. Oh, okay. And the regular shit. Oh, let me get Kevin in. Kevin's here. Cool. I don't know if Jack's going to join us. I sent him the link. So hopefully Jack can join us. Kev. I think he's connecting the audio. Raven, can you hear me? Kev, what's good?
What's up, man?
All right. I'm almost done with the intro here, so I'm just going to put you on mute for a minute.
No worries.
Got it. All right, so we got Kevin here. Raven, you good? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, cool. All right. Yeah, again, and last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. And also when you hit the notification bell, make sure you receive all notifications. If you don't, you won't get all notifications, lives, etc., things of that nature. All right. Don't forget to hit the like button. The more likes the channel gets, the more it expands out. All right. And all that good shit. I think I covered everything. for the most part. Real quick, Brother Maniac Mitchell, I did get your email. I'm going to get back to you. I didn't forget you. And I think my good brother I think he was here earlier on the live on Facebook. I got your email about a Santa Muerte reading. I saw it right before I came on. I'll get back with you. Brother Tiz, I didn't forget you, man. Just been crazy busy. We're going to link up. Hopefully in the next day or two. We still got to have that discussion. I ain't forget about you. Brother Jack, I sent you the link, man, to come into the room. Brother Jack, called you earlier, went to voicemail. I did email you the link. So if you want to come in and into the room and add to the build, the link is in your email, brother, if you can hear me. All right. Think that's it. So let's get into it. Let's do it. Infernal blessings to all. Let's get that out of the way. Bow your heads in prayer. Oh, let me stop. All right, this ain't what you think it is. So first of all, let me say this. If you're religious, this ain't the room for you right now. I know the title's gonna throw you off. So I'm just putting that out there. If you're brand spanking new, it's not what you think it is, all right? But it's gonna be something else. Hold on. Why is that on the screen? Move that shit. Downsize that. There we go. It's going to be something else for others to grasp. You cannot serve two masters. Unfortunately, there's a lot of that shit going on. And there's a quote in the Bible that is very popular, that is used a lot. And I'm going to give you my own interpretation of it, of how we should apply it on this path. So let's go to the quote first real quick. And then I will, Kevin and Raven, if they want to come in, they can add to this. Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. What does it say? All right. No man, in this case, let's say man and women, can serve two masters. For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and two masters, right? What's mammon? Let's look at this real quick. It's important we understand this. And I'm going to tell you why I did this. You're saying, Beniti, what's with the biblical shit? Well, real easy. I'm going to show you. Remember, what we do on this path, we could take anything and turn it and break it down and use it as a aspect or a level of information. So what does the dictionary describe mammon as, right? Wealth, regarded as an evil influence or false object of worship. I want to focus on the false object of worship and devotion. That's the part I want to focus on. It was taken by medieval writers as the name of the devil of covetousness, not the devil, but the devil of covetousness revised in the sense by Milton, etc. False object of worship and devotion. That's what stood out to me as I was doing research on this. So how does that apply? And what does that got to do with what we're doing on this path? Well, basically, there's a lot of us that are giving our devotion and our energy and our time to false objects, to false systems of worship. And I've been saying, go ahead, Raven, you got something? I think you need to unmute yourself. Try now. Hold on. Raven, can you hear me? Hello. Raven, can you hear me? You got to unmute yourself. I don't know if she stepped away. She had her hand up. Kev, you there? You can hear me? I think you got to unmute. All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I got you unmuted. Just unmute yourself, and when you're ready to talk, you could just go ahead and unmute. So
Sure.
Just keep unmute. Whenever you want to interject, just interject, man.
Will do.
All right. I don't know. Raven must have stepped away. She had her hand up, but I don't see her. Anyway, Raven, when you get back, just got to unmute yourself. All right. All right. So again, the purpose, when we look at false devotion, all right? I want to focus on that. Giving our energy to false objects, okay? The problem is there's still a lot of that going on this path. There's still a lot of people laying claim to doing things, quote unquote, that is occult or left-hand path. Sorry, my camera was off. And we really got to start questioning ourselves. One, what is it we're really doing? Okay. What is it we are really doing? Because again, I'm still getting emails. I'm still seeing shit. And again, look, I want to make this clear. This ain't got nothing to do with being judgmental. Hold on, something in the chat. No, I fixed the YouTube thing. Hold on. I changed the YouTube thing. That should be changed. I'm looking at it right now. So maybe just go refresh your page. You might have to refresh your page because it's showing updated here. So I'm not sure what you're seeing. All right, should be fixed. Yeah, just try to refresh your page, Raven. Okay, cool. Did you have something you wanted to add? Because you had your hand up, and I don't know if it was just that. You were just trying to.
No, go ahead. I'm waiting. Go ahead and finish what you were saying.
All right, I got you. You have unmuted access. So yeah, when you're ready to talk, you can just unmute yourself, just like Kev, all right? All right, cool. All right, so again, we got to call it for what it is, because while you cannot, the key thing in here, it says you will despise one and hate the other, okay? I keep telling people you're going to get conflicted if you're mixing this stuff with previous shit you used to do, watered down nonsense you can't let go of. I don't care what it is, whether it's a spiritual path prior to this. I don't care if it's the Kemetic system, working with the Orishas and Ifa, Buddhism, whatever it is. You've got to be able to understand that has its perspective and its place. And this is something that's entirely on a different level. Problem is, there's a lot of people who think they are occult left-hand path practitioners, but in essence, they're really new age, Wiccan, mixing fluffy stuff where they're calling it that. Because I get a lot of emails about ridiculous shit, okay? And the reason why this is important to address, and one, let me make this clear, I couldn't really give a shit. This is not about whether you agree or disagree, like or not. I'm just calling it for what it is, okay? Any person that lays claim to practicing on this path to a certain level or degree wouldn't be mixing any of that stuff. Because again, it's gonna cause confusion later down the road. I already talked about mental imbalancements, all right? It's gonna cause confusion. And most of all, it's gonna cause you to never gain any type of consistency working this path and getting the results you need to work. Okay, I'm not talking about moments of it. I'm not talking about periods of it, but I'm still seeing people that can't let go of old shit. They still struggle with it. And then they want to know why things are going amok, why things are going wrong. Why do they get periods where things are good and then things all of a sudden crash on them, okay? The problem is when you're accessing certain spiritual energy on this path, okay? This is important to understand. You're opening up gateways, portholes of energy. You're tapping into spirits, entities, whatever you want to call it to make you feel good. That's going to create changes on all levels. However you describe them is irrelevant. You might describe some of them changes, good or bad, because some of these energies that you're accessing is about removing obstructions. A lot of the deities and spirits and demonic entities we work with on this path are about transformational change. And is it always pleasant? Absolutely not. Is it always easy? Absolutely not. Is it work? Absolutely yes. Okay? That's the part I think people don't put into factor, because when they realize, oh, I got to study this much. I got to read this much. I got to do research this much. I got to actually indulge and experiment and carry this work out to see what's the right fit niche for me. Because through your experiments, you're going to fuck up. You're going to find out. That's the only way you're going to find out what's wrong. But again, is it always pleasant? Absolutely not.
Right. Okay. So what you're saying is that they can't, or someone can't, I'm going to light this candle for the infamous Shango, right? And then I'm going to come over here and I want to do a ritual with Lucifer,
Right.
but they're taking it from the same approach. It's not that they can't do their Orishi stuff, right? You have
Right.
your Orishi moments if that's what, have it.
Sure.
But then you can't mix that with the same approach, ideology as with working with Lucifer.
Correct.
Right? Or
Big
Lilith,
time.
infamous Lilith, Tiamat. You know what I mean? They want to call out these deities or these energies, these primordial energies.
Correct.
They want to take something that was all that existed before Shango.
Say it again. Say that part again. That what? That existed what?
Before Shango. So they want to take these energies, these deep, dark, chaotic, primordial, they Leviathan, they in the waters, they in the deep. They come from the deep, right? I think where I get it from. I think Lord of the Rings is some crazy stuff. The deep.
But I want to back up to something you said and continue. Shango. So this is where you get people jammed up. I always tell people when you study that path, the Orishas have multiple paths, all of them. So what Shango are we talking about? Watch the dumbness when you ask somebody, is Shango real? And if they say yes, say, what Shango are you referring to? They're going to get jammed up because I know I can tell you where they're going to go. I can tell you what generic bullshit they're going to pull out of what they read in the book because one, they don't really understand the path. First of all, the only person that can really answer that correctly is a person that's been crowned. Okay, because the person that's crowned is given their specific individual path and know that it's just one small ashe, the word which everybody loves to say, ashe, alafia, is one small ashe or energy aspect of the deity. So my question would be, which Shango are we talking about? But go ahead.
Yeah, so they're trying to mix. So that's why it's called, which master are you serving? Because as my understanding of it is that when you're working with these, anything outside of the left-hand path, anything outside of that is outward. It's an outward journey. It's not a inward journey out.
Correct.
It's an outward journey because it's everything that they're doing is outside of themselves. And they're looking for things outside of themselves to fix themselves. They're looking at things outside of themselves.
Hold on, I got to testify. I'm catching the Holy Spirit, catching the ghost.
You're a mess. You're a mess.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hallelujah.
Okay, but this is just my understanding of it, right? So they're looking at everything outside of it. I didn't come up through them systems. Christianity was enough, but I'm glad it was enough. I didn't compound it with you know what the issue is? Okay. The issue is people love groups. And I think that when they feel the need to be in a group, they get sucked up into their outward journey, looking for everything outside of them, because that's what a group is. A group is outside of you. It's not within you. That's a group.
Right.
A group of individuals. It's a group of things. Okay. It's a sum of things. But when you go to these or types of systems, I want to call them systems, religious systems. That's my understanding, because what I've learned about the different voodoo, Santeria, whatever, hoodoo, it's a system, it's a religious system, and it's everything outside of you. Do they have moments where there's some things of Kepera?
Well, that's a good question, but the key is yes. Are there moments where there's inner reflection? Sure, there is. Are there moments?
Okay, then I think
but
that's
hold on to
where.
something. Back
But
up
I
to
think
something you said.
but I think that's where they get it confused because they
Right,
have those
but
moments.
you gotta connect it to something you just said. Back up a second. You said the core essence of it, regardless if there's that inner reflection. Even Christianity's got some level of inner reflection. But the major issue is what you just said a minute ago. You hit it on the head. Overall, it's based on searching for some force outside of yourself. So it's irrelevant because that's where you just answered it, because that's where the conflict comes in, because you're trying to really get to the point where you can master yourself, right? And become the best you can be. But how can you do that if you're searching for that something outside of yourself? I don't give a fuck how much inner reflection, how much meditation you're doing, but you're still under the mental ideology that there's some mystical spirit force sitting in some place called heaven, sitting in some place called Valhalla, or whatever it is you believe in, Nirvana, which is just more forms of this mystical place called heaven. It's still mental indoctrination. So the key is what you said. You're on a mission. The whole thing is precepted on a mission where you're seeking something outside of yourself that does not exist. But go ahead.
Well, yeah. Well, to that point, so that's how I know that people are not truly walking, because you can see, if you listen to them, you can hear the confusion. You can listen and see that, they are trying to sound as if they're on the left-hand path, but everything about them speaks other than from their outward appearance and their speech. It all speaks that they truly not on the path, that they truly don't understand. I'm not saying that I'm an expert, I'm far from it, but there's some things I know, and I'm confident in that knowing, because I have done that work. I have worked with those entities. I know what that is, or that energy, that primordial energy. It's a whole different, it's a whole different deal. Sure. And it is there to bring about change. And it's rather for you to accept it or not. It's not for everybody. Mm-mm. I get it. But if you are comfortable with that outward religious approach, then stay there in your outward religious approach until you're ready, mentally ready. Now that you have to be mentally ready.
And that's important. But you answered, well, hopefully people caught what you just said. The reason why they don't is what you just said. Why would people want to mix the two and dabble in the two like that? Because it's that level of comfort. It's that level of, this is a place that's safe and secure. Now here's another thing to add to what you're saying. It's important. I'm glad you said this, because bottom line is, like you said, there's a lot of shit out here that claims to identify with this. And because one, this is now becoming something a bit more mainstream. It's becoming a bit more accepted. So now we got a lot of people that have come from a lot of fluffy new age systems and all this other previous traditional shit. So now they cross over, they mix the two, but they stay comfortable. Let me still incorporate the traditional shit. Let me still mix and match the Orisha stuff. Let me still mix and match the Kabbalah, Wiccan bullshit. And the problem is you got a watered down aspect of quote unquote the occult and the left-hand path. And how do you know? Because you can just see it in the action, the verbiage and the language that's used in the presentations and the information that's delivered. Nothing is about intense internal transformational change. Everything is centered on some aesthetic, as you said earlier, external focus on some deity outside of yourself. I don't give a shit if you call it Allah, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. I don't care if you call it El Elo, Yahweh, Shango, Obatala. It's all the same shit. It's a state of mental. The hardest thing for people to understand is they cannot relate to and connect to the fact, wait, this is really all about me? Really? This is really all about me? How's that?
Facts.
Well, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Facts. Yeah. And there you go. Back to, Kepra. They would never achieve that or even really understand it until they walk the path. Because that's you know, I'm
Mhm.
gonna pull back. I almost said something crazy, but um
Hold that tongue, Raven.
I'm gonna behave myself that now. But uh because I don't want to, people get real sensitive because
Mhm.
they think they know what they know, right? Because they have been working with um that lighter energy, um but dealing with some of it like in a volatile manner, right? So because I know some of those energies carry that volatileness, right? So they think that they're doing something because I'm saying this because it's something I heard somebody say, right?
Mhm.
So they think that they're doing something that is considered left hand path black magic, but
Mhm.
they call it dark magic. But anyways,
Right.
but they think that's what they're doing, but you can, if you when you look at a person that's like that, you can literally see the, as the Christian would say, the good devil, the angel and the devil on the two, on the shoulders.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
can see that they're conflicted because they don't they don't know how to express or say
Right.
what it is that they truly do. They want to give the appearance of being something that they're not.
Correct.
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
either selling something or they want to be cool or yeah, something like that.
Sure. And the thing, the most important thing to understand, that's okay. But as you said just a few minutes ago, but just be clear in your identification because it can be confusing to somebody seeking on the path, and they're seeing all this stuff being mixed. Now, some people have the ability to decipher between that, no doubt. But you got to remember, not everybody does. And I've seen people get jacked up. So more so newer people, because again, one of the motivational reasons for doing this video, I get some of the most funniest emails. People emailing me about left-hand path stuff that's not left-hand path. And then when I ask them, where are you getting this from? And then when I find out where they're getting it from, all right, now I understand why, but then it's like they have to be explained. When you're working with entities and spirits such as Abaddon, Lucifer, Samael, Lilith, Set, when you're working with these archetypes, these energy forces, it's not the same when you're working with a lot of that traditional shit. And if you don't understand that, it's because you've never really worked with it or experienced it. Okay. And how it's simple to know, not just because I'm saying it, not just because anybody here on this panel is saying it. You could take a thorough survey from multiple practitioners, especially seasoned elders, and they'll be able to identify it in a nutshell. Okay. And that's why I've been saying for years, you hear me saying this over and over for years, you can't fake the funk on this path. See, you can put on an ankh, you can put on traditional spiritual clothing, you can wear a big ass ankh and say Hotep and Alafia and Ashe, and you can get a pass because nobody's really going to question you as long as you got some basic shit. But when you come into the temple in the dark amongst people that really practice this path, you're going to be held accountable. You're going to have to show and prove what it is of your understanding on this path. And I'm not just talking about intellectual wise, I'm talking by way of deeds, actions. Um, I've literally seen it before. Perform a demonstration of black magic on a collective level. And you have to show that in your understanding. And this is what separates, in my opinion and experience, um, those who say they're on the path and those who can prove they're on the path. That's my point. Okay.
Well, I can say, to add to that is that, you know, um, the workings between the two are totally different as well. So that's how you can know. If you ever did a working with, not the little fluffy, sexy shit everybody want to do with Kali and Lilith. If you really did true work with those entities, that shit would be on the back burner. Literally, it'll be on the back work. And the workings that you would do, like for you know, since we'll leave it, you know, Shango as the, you know, I'm sorry, Shango, you the victim tonight, you know, you the example. You the example tonight. The workings are something that someone does with Shango. Those are totally two different, because even in the working, it's a big mental thing. We have done things like here ritualistic, you know, ritual wise, where we work with the like the African deities, right? And a lot of that, when I think back on it, when a lot of that was outward. You didn't have to put a lot of mental focus into it. It wasn't a lot of nothing that you had to do internally, right? When you do your workings now for Samael, you know, Lydia, you know.
You still there? We lost you.
Yeah, I'm still here. That is an internal workings. You may be uttering some words, you may be moving about saying things, but the whole reason for the working is to do it's a mental change. Even in your meditation, to hold, look,
so
I almost talked about something. I almost talked about sex major, but I'm gonna pull that back.
okay,
I'm gonna smash that back real quick. I'm gonna smash that back because it's not the platform, but it would prove my point in the saying that how mental it is and how you have to be ready for it. You have to be grounded, you know, right sound, you know, sound, body and mind to deal with that kind of force, because it's a force. And work with those type of things will bring about change, and your mental state will prove if you're ready for it or not. Were you just going to say something?
No. I'm just, what I was going to say was what you were just saying a minute ago. So what I'm hearing is when you talk about it being mental, and this is my whole point, majority of what we do, and backed up what I say, showing improving. Majority of what I do is really at the end of the day in the darkness, there is no altars. There is no things to focus on. There is no tangibles. There is no objects of worship. See, when you're in the darkness, that's when when there's nothing there but the darkness, do you have the ability to show improve? There is no shrines. There's no more statues. There's no books. There's no tangibles. Though they might be there, I mean, depends on what you're doing, but it gets to a point where it's just you connecting in that darkness, uncovering what's been hidden. Because when we talk about these deities, we're throwing out a lot of deities, a lot of spirits, different paths. Here's the important thing that we need to understand about that, right? A lot of the traditional paths, whatever we call it, whether it's monotheistic religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Santeria, all those things, we're talking about spirits or demons that you really can't put a time frame on. So people get caught up in that. I see a lot of people who get stuck in traditional stuff because they can't identify it with it on a traditional culture level. They kind of disregard it, or they don't really have the full understanding. So therefore they can't connect and they don't feel comfortable. Now, you mentioned Lilith for an example, right? People will always connect with Lilith, whether it's through the Orisha, through Solomon, through biblical texts, through grimoires that came before it. Don't get confused. Same thing when you're talking about the one of the many masks of the adversary called Lucifer, right? Even in the text that people quote, we're talking about spirits, beings, and energies that existed before what we know as linear time even existed. And everything else you're connecting with comes after the fact. And this is all the people who like to get so historical and need some type of data and some source to validate shit. But all I see them doing is going to recent traditional man-made shit in the last couple hundred to thousands of years. So the people will come and say, well, you're saying that about this path,
But what about these spirits and demons you're talking about on this path? Where do we trace and take their time frame back to? I've gone over that a million times. Can you get an exact time? No, because some of them are listed as not having a time frame, a beginning or end that can be traced to that, because some exist prior to what we know as person, place, or thing, right? You could read the story of Lucifer or Iblis in the Quran. You could go into the Al-Jiwa text of the Yazidis and read the story of Melik Taus. You're talking about beings and entities that manifested in different cultures over millions of years. I'm not thousands, millions of years. Now, if you want to get all technical and go, well, give me the exact time, I'm not going to waste my time doing that, because now we're getting stupid. But I can tell you it predates all that tradition.
Feelings got hurt. That's what that is.
Yeah, that's why I say it, when you're messing with that type of energy, as opposed to some of the traditional stuff is taken so literal, and some people don't know a lot of it was metaphorical and it just wasn't put into context. This is where we get traditionalists and authors and people that were authorized as being the authoritative figure on the subject, whether they were babalawos, high priest, so whatever titles they were given, and rightfully so. Some of them were elders that gained that experience and credibility. But I've always said this: I don't care who it is. It could be them, it could be me, it could be anybody else out there. Always do your research for yourself. Never ever just get stuck in one particular thing, because that's where you get jammed up. Because what happens is people get, or they gravitate towards something they feel comfortable with, and they stay with it because it's in their comfort zone. They don't want to step outside the box. This path is about stepping outside the box. If you're comfortable on this path, you're not on this path. I've said that a million times before. Okay, if you're just so complacent and set in your ways, because there's something you uncover on a daily basis on this path, literally, and that's not even an exaggeration. I can never phantom waking up one day and going, oh yeah, everything's solid. I'm done. I've mastered this. There's nothing else to explore. And it's not repeating the same redundant shit over and over. That's how you get it. It's when I say it's about gauging it about the result. People, well, how do you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing? Gauge it by the results. Simple. Ask yourself, when you, for whatever path you're on, when you first came on the spiritual path you're on, gauge it from the moment you walked on the path to the present day, and gauge your overall results. And I'm not talking about the basic shit, oh, I become a better person. I'm talking about the overall results, because people will say generic shit like that. This path is about becoming the best you can be, one, spiritually, having knowledge of self, mentally, being in sound mind, sound body, and being mentally to be able to tap in and create the harmony between the subjective and objective consciousness, which is a lifelong journey. Emotionally, not being controlled or devoured by your emotions, but understanding them and connecting to them and knowing how to reciprocate them when need be in its correct form. Anger can be a good or a bad thing. Anger can devour you, but anger can be channeled. That passion behind anger can be channeled into some productive. That's what we do on this path. We don't tell you to suppress that emotion completely, because that's illusionary. That's not real. And then physically, obviously, the basic things, diet, food, exercise, and then obviously financially, which I find, by the way, is always left out of a lot of these so-called spiritual paths, because somewhere along the line, being broke, poor, and content with it has become the norm. And then every time I said, oh, spirituality is not just all about money, I didn't say, notice I put it last, but it is an important principle. I didn't put it first, I put it last. I'm just so tired of all these spiritual paths where people claim to be so spiritual, so deep and so heavy, but they're not a living example of that. First and foremost, I start with basic thing, not to be judgmental. I look at how you live your life, the example you set. If you're pissed broke, sleeping on your mom's couch, driving a hoopty, I can't look at your example as that's not something I want to strive to be. And don't come with all the sad sack shit. Oh, you know, I fell on hard. We all fall on hard times. It's not how you fall, it's how you get the fuck up. That's the other thing we don't do on this path, is play the role of victim. I guarantee you everybody in here can play the role of victim and sit around and go, oh, I've been dealt a bad hand. People out to get me. Oh, I feel like somebody's doing work on me. Oh, this person set me up. Oh, these people hate on me. Then that shows me you ain't got no power. You ain't no magician. You ain't no adept. If that little shit is bothering you, tearing you down, then shit, you're going to be an easy person to destroy and manipulate. That's not an excuse. And we don't make excuses. Okay. We take responsibility for our actions. Financial is a part of it, one of the many. And I'm so tired of all these, you know how many people I've run into in the last 25 plus years? I had motherfuckers come amongst me. I can levitate, I can heal myself, I can do this and that. And then they bummy as hell, got crusty shit coming out of their eyes. They smell like they ain't bathed in 2 weeks. And they want to give me advice on how I should master myself. Sorry, I'm good, thanks. I don't need to know anything that you're doing because all I can do, I can look at it and that's all I need to see. And then look, I got to keep it real. That's just the reality.
Yeah, they always say, don't be of this world. But it's like, dude, you're living in this world.
Yeah, no, don't be of this world. Because the people, you know what? I'm glad you bring that up, Kat. The people that say that are people that are usually broke.
Yeah.
That's the person that wants to find some justification why they're not successful. So
That's one reason why Christianity was so popular, because everyone believed that, oh, okay, in this life I have nothing, but when I die in heaven, I have a mansion and I have 10 acres and I have, it's like, yeah.
But
they bought the lie.
No, I'm glad you bring that up, Kat. The problem with that is I can pretty much say 100%. Everybody that's told me that has either been super religious, like you say, or they're piss broke and now they got to find a justification of why they're struggling, because they feel like I'm struggling now, but because I'm so spiritual and I take this oath of poverty, I'm such a warrior and I'm sacrificing, but there's some great reward and pie in the sky waiting for me later. That's the broke man's mentality right there.
Yeah, but they don't never remember that part where Jesus threw out the money changers, collecting the money up there in the church, okay, or in the synagogue.
Yeah.
But again, okay. This all falls in the category. You cannot serve two masters.
Two masters. That's
and I'm
my whole
saying,
point. Yeah.
I'm referring to this as ideologies, because you will either love one or despise or hate the other one. It's no different than what I'm saying. You get conflicted. So if you're trying to play Hebrew, Kabbalah, mystic / Orisha, Santeria, hoodoo, voodoo practitioner / left-hand path occultist, I can tell you what's going to happen at some point in that journey. Mental imbalancement, probably depression, bipolarism, a bunch of other shit that really in the long run is not productive. We're not talking about moments of it. We all go through moments of that. That's not what we're talking about. Everybody, and you don't have to deal with depression to be diagnosed clinically depressed, right? That's bullshit, okay? Everybody goes through periods, moments, and times in their life where they tap into what we call the depression energy. I'm not talking about that, because that's human fucking nature. Everybody here, I'm sure at one point can reflect in a moment or a period in their life where they could say they were depressed and down. It could have been financial loss. It could have been a personal loss. It could have been a personal life situation. That's life. That's not what I'm talking about. Don't confuse that. I'm talking on a more mental and spiritual aspect. You can see when spirits get a hold of an individual and conflicts them mentally. I know I can. I know I can identify it. The problem is most of the people it happens to, they can't. And that's the problem. And it's not our job to walk around and go, hey, you're conflicted, there's spirits control. That's not our job. That's not what we do, okay? It is our job to recognize, be aware, and hopefully through education and teaching, that hopefully assists, but sometimes that person's got to go through those experiences so they can come out of it on their own. One thing you're also going to learn on this path, you can't force nobody to do anything they don't want to do. Whereas other paths, religions, try this converting you shit. We don't walk around on this path trying to convert people. Oh, you want to convert to the left-hand path? Oh, here's a formal initiation you can do, and now you're officially left-hand path. You ever notice there's nothing exists like that on this path? There's a reason for that. Because we're not looking for quantity. I know I don't, I'm looking for quality. I'd rather do spiritual work with 4 people than 400 people. if 396 of those people are fucked up in the head? I'm not interested. So we don't walk around recruiting people. This is not like, oh, I'm taking my oath to be left-hand path, now I'm initiated. No, but other systems do that. Why? Because it's a system of mental programming. Yeah, you can get into the whole initiation as a rite of passage. I get all that shit. But where it becomes dangerous is where people become a servant to it 24/7. Now it goes from a rite of passage to a religion with structure, rules, regulations. You can do this, you can't do that. You can dress this way, you can't dress that way. You can eat that, you can't do this. You're not allowed to do that, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And there's all this nonsense to justify it. That's where it becomes dangerous, okay? So we gotta be careful. Anything else you want me? I was gonna see what's in the chat. Maybe we can go.
Well, no, not at this moment, really. I was
Right.
just listening and thinking, hold up, I'm still talking.
Mhm.
Okay. I tell you, I'm trying to control my little fancy mouth today. Okay. But anyways, but see, that brings me back to what we was talking about earlier in the whole conversation, right? About the two paths, and then you saying earlier about the Wiccan and the left-hand path, right?
Mhm.
So I think that was a good segue or something good to talk about is the difference in a I call one a pentacle and the other is a pentagram.
Mhm.
Because people don't understand the difference between the two and the meaning of said instruments of, you know.
No, and that's a good point. Like, I'm glad you bring that up. Forgot about that. That's something I wanted to cover. But hold on, I'm gonna grab something so people can see it.
Oh, look at the baby. So cute.
Your face.
He's so cute.
Let's have Occult 101, kindergarten occult. All right. Let me show you something. We're all familiar with this symbol right here, right? All right, let's look at this. A very popular Wiccan witchcraft book, Raymond Buckland, right?
Yep.
To your kid.
What's that? What's all that?
Okay, got to mute.
All right, so we all see this, right? We're all familiar with this, right? This is a book that's been out for a while that most people that practice Wicca or witchcraft use, right? That is your standard regular 5-pointed star that's used, not in the occult, the left-hand path. Let me make this clear. It's used in Wiccan and earth and pagan magic, all right? Let's get that shit straight. This, the inverted 5-pointed star that we use on the occult that we're all familiar with, takes on a whole different significance. Anybody that really practices left-hand path occult wouldn't identify with this star. I mean, if you identify with Wiccan and earth magic and moon magic and all that shit, then that's what you connect with, all right? This is a Wiccan star. This is not an occult left-hand path star. Okay, there's nothing occult or left-hand path about that. And if you know the difference of what this means, pointed in this direction, laid out like that, as opposed to the inverted with the points down, then you wouldn't even fuck with it. So it's little shit like that I'm talking about. You can find this, you can go into a New Age bookstore. New Age people wear this shit all the time. You can go to any New Age store that carries New Age products, New Age books, This is a very popular symbol used amongst New Agers because most people that are New Age practitioners practice Wicca or paganism. That has nothing to do with the occult and left-hand path. I don't care what anybody says. Nothing. There's nowhere you're going to find in any occult system or left-hand path, that is, that uses that because of what it represents, of what spiritual forces and energy it taps into. Now, if you're working and you're using that for earth magic and Wicca and you're working it with paganism, then that's fine. I got no problem with that. But I've had people literally email me about questions. Yeah, I'm on the path, and this is the book they refer to. And it's not, I'm not saying it's a bad book. I get emails about this book being left-hand path. It's not a left-hand path book. Let me straighten that out right now. This is Wicca, earth magic. Let's establish that out the gate. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but what I am saying is wrong when you confuse this for being this. That's where it becomes a problem. It's not the same thing. Because the energy and the forces you're going to tap into working with this, whether you superimpose it with the Baphomet head or not, is not the same shit you're going to encounter working with this. Dina and all the moon goddess and all that fucking, that shit they do in New Age, wearing Viking helmets and dancing around in circles and shit and all that. Totally different. Totally different. You can't tell me otherwise. I don't care what your opinion is on it. Don't get caught up in your opinion on it. Let's deal with the facts. That's what I'm trying to say. The fact of the matter is, anybody that studies dark magic, witchcraft, sorcery, black magic, whatever you want to call it, would not identify with this. I'm sorry. Okay? So don't email me. I got Raymond Buckler's book, Complete Book of Witchcraft. I'm on the left-hand path. No, you're not. Sorry. I don't want to bust your bubble, but you're not. It's a good start if you want to get your hands wet with magic. I mean, I believe somebody brand spanking new should maybe start on that level.
You know what I was going to say? I was going to say that. I'm glad you mentioned that. So I'll say that because that will relate to me, and I can truly speak on that. Because again, I come strictly from Christianity. As I was saying earlier, I have no other. Okay, I have no other religious thing going on. I study Islam. It was a study for me. It was something that I can dialogue with people about, but I didn't do it, right? When I got started on this path, doing my learning and researching, that's where I started. I have that book, and it just never it just didn't feel right. Because to your point, you get into it to see if it's a fit for you, and it just never vibe with me. It just felt like it just didn't vibe with me. It just wasn't my type of deal. But I didn't stop there. I just kept looking and pushing. There's another book. I bought it from you, as a matter of fact. And it felt a little better. But now I know why that felt better, because it ties into DNA. But it's a whole nother topic, right?
Yeah.
So that felt good, but I still wasn't satisfied with it. Right. And so you keep pushing it and find where you fit, find your lane. You get into what works for you. And that's what this whole thing is about, is fine. If that's what you want to do, is those type of things, that's fine. No one is not saying you can't do it. That's you. It works for you. Right. But for those that want to go deeper, you can't straddle the fence. You can't say, I'm gonna be doing some Wiccan shit, and then the next minute you're gonna try to tap into some darker energies. That's gonna flip you on your head. You just can't. Those two are polar opposites. Yep. Really, they are polar opposites. Yeah, they're just polar opposites. But you're right. That book is a good. There was a coworker I had. She was all tatted down, white chick. And behind her ears, she had, the pentacle and the pentagram on both sides. And I said, I see that. I said, I know what those mean. I said, and I asked her a question. She couldn't explain it, or she didn't want to explain it. I'm put it that way. But when she knew I knew what time it was a whole different relationship. Because
Yeah.
she knew, she knew I knew. I didn't walk around. It was tatted on her behind her ears. She had her hair pulled back, and you can see it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's fine. It's so I mean, anybody has the liberty and freedom to do whatever they want. That's not what we're discussing here. When we're talking about you cannot serve two masters, the issue is when all this shit is mixed, it becomes incorrect and it becomes confusing. But before we go to chat, Kev, is this something you wanted to say? I thought I heard you chiming in.
No, I'm good.
All right. So let's do this.
And you know what it is? Wait, one more thing before you go to the chat. Because you know what that made me think about too? Is this here? Because they say I hear go Kentucky, what they saw. What hey God, how you doing, God? They're always calling each other gods. But they're not gods because they're serving other masters. That's what they do too. They add that to their witch's pot. That was funny. But anyways, they add that too as another label as what they say. They call each other gods and goddesses, but they're not actually working on becoming.
Nah, we have a lot of goddamn fools is what we got. That's a whole nother story. Yeah, no, I feel you. All right, so real quick, and then we'll continue our discussion. Let's just see what any feedback in the chat, see what people got on their minds. Real quick, shout out to some of the people. I'm not gonna go through everybody. Shout out Debo89, Regina Green, Aradia, Shara Nocturnalist, and Infernal Blessings to everybody else, just for the sake of time. Not that we ignoring. I know you guys came in earlier. So AJ Love's first question, he says, can you please share a simple ritual for increasing the intensity and power of the Lucifer energy that resides within the shadow/subconscious mind? I would refer you to a great book, Rites of Lucifer by Asenath Mason. There's very simple meditations, visualizations, and path workings in there. That is always a great beginner book I refer people to who want to work with the Lucifer energy. There's many things in there you can do. That's very good, simple. Doesn't necessarily, it's not just for beginners, but it's a book that I always use as a great reference tool for people who want to really start on the path of connecting with the mask of the adversary. So I would tell you, AJ Love, seek that book out, try some of the meditations, path workings, and rituals in there. It's a great book, okay? Romeo Corleone, damn, that's a pimp name right there. He got a stable of hoes. I know he did. Brother Romeo Corleone, where's my money? Stop. But welcome. I'm just having fun, Romeo. Welcome, brother. Maniac Mitchell, what's going on, brother? I don't know if you were here earlier. I did get your email. I will be reaching out to you. I saw it right before I came on. Man. It's just been a very busy 2 days. I don't know how people complain. They have too much time on their hands and they don't know what to do. I wish I could buy some more time. Anybody selling some linear time, hit me up. Shoot me an email. I'll buy some off of you because I sure as fuck don't have enough time in the day to do what I need to do. All right. Ishara Nocturnalist. Yeah, that's yeah. I don't know if you're talking to Santa Muerte behind me. We love her too. What else we got? Manny. Okay, Manny, you get my message. Cool. Yes, freedom flame. Bow your head in prayer. All the congregation. No, let me stop.
Amen.
I'm just having fun. I'm having fun. It ain't nothing personal. It's just to get cold. What else? Oh, shout out Clarissa from Pittsburgh. First time catching it live. Welcome. All right, what else we got? All right, so there's a good comment by Ashara. When I first became a devotee, kind of to test into what we were talking about earlier, I was getting caught up in the major Orisha worship. It became overwhelming. Yes, now let me stress this. I'm saying this from somebody that was initiated Oshun in this. I'm saying this from somebody that was scratched in Palo Salabanda. So I'm not talking from my ass. I'm talking about years of being in those things and then walking away from it. I'm not gonna get into all that. I've done videos on that, going to archives.
Sound like a robot, dude.
Say it again. I couldn't hear you.
Sounding like a robot. Yeah, you were sounding like a robot for a minute there.
That's the aliens. They're messing with the feed. That's the extraterrestrials. Let me stop.
They don't want this info getting out.
Yeah. Let's get conspiracy theories. So I'm not going to get into all that, but what I am saying is what tends to happen if you don't know how to put it in its correct context or perspective, because there can be a very spiritual aspect and a metaphysical aspect that you can work with the Orishas, such as connecting it with your chakras and other work, which I'll elaborate a little later on that. But when it becomes a problem, and if you're referring to the overwhelming aspect, when you just become a servant to it like any other religion. I found in my many years in it, no matter what you do after that, you need this ritual. Oh yeah, then you got to carry out this ritual. Oh, Oshun wants you to do this. Oh, the obey, you got to get your obey. Oh, you got to get your hand of a rule. Oh, the spirits told me you need to do this. And it's a money train, it's a gravy train. You're constantly serving. And then it becomes to the point like, God damn, when's this shit stop? Because then you start to sense, because your spirit is growing, you start to see the hustle. You're like, man, nah, something ain't right here. I'm starting to see the bullshit here now. So that's where it can become overwhelming. One, you're all over the place trying to connect with all this energy. You're conflicted. And most of all, the most dangerous part, you're in a mind of subservient servitude. That's completely the opposite of our approach on this path. That's why you can't mix the two. Because again, I got to keep it real. To the traditional practitioner, not somebody who looks at it from a more spiritual, mental, or metaphysical perspective, I just have to simply say, because if you ask me, somebody had asked a couple of weeks ago a question, and they thought they were slick with it, but they weren't. Who is Lucifer? Okay, that's somebody that doesn't know anything what this path is about. There's many masks of the adversary, just like there's many paths of the Orisha, right? So when somebody says Shango, they get mad when I say, well, which path of Shango are you referring to? Shango, yeah, which one? I could say that for Obatala. I could say that for Yemaya. I could say that for Oshun. I could say that for any of them. Because anybody that knows really what those paths are about knows the path. If they're initiated, they know the path, specific path they were initiated in. Okay? So which Shango are we talking about? So you got to be careful when you're dabbling in that stuff. All right, Spirit Driven says, oh no, we got one more comment. I'm sorry. From Shara. That is the greatest explanation of distinction I've ever heard. Anything not on the left-hand path is seeking what is outside. Yeah, enough said. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Anything, it's period, left-hand path or not. Anything that you're trying to get knowledge of self or the truth of self, and you're searching outside of yourself, it's religion, okay? It's no different than a Christian that goes into a church and prays to some spirit force in heaven, regardless if they call him Jesus, God, Jehovah, Yahweh, it doesn't matter. They're all spook spirit forces that can't be confirmed, can't be proven, other than the person's individual faith. Now, let's talk about that real quick, because there's power in individual faith. And this comes up in a lot of topics. I tell people that, do we deal with faith on this path? Yes, we do. Faith in ourselves. Not faith in some illusionary force or mystical belief system that can't be proven to any degree. We uncover that true faith by our experiences and our ritualistic work, and by what we tap into subjectively and how we bridge that with our objective understanding or consciousness. Don't confuse that faith with religious faith. Religious faith is faith in things not proven or seen. Think about that for a minute. So I've literally seen over the years, and I've talked about this many times before, I've been at many benbeis, I've been at many gatherings for the Orishas, I've been at many initiation ceremonies where shrines are set up, and I've watched people get on their hands and knees and grovel in front of the statue and pray. And say stupid shit like, look, the bananas, see, they're rotten. Shango's eating the bananas. That is so fucking stupid to me. Leave bananas out on your kitchen cabinet, on your counter. Leave them out there. We all do that, right? What happens when they stay out there for a little bit? Them shit start to...
Banana lives matter.
Yeah. This is the ideology, not ideology, the ideology that people fall for. I've literally heard this at benbeis. I've heard this when people say this. Look. They'll come back 2 days later and say, look, Shango's eating a banana. Shango ain't no goddamn banana. Stop. Stop. But that's the kind of stupidity it starts to program into people's minds. But yes, okay, so a good question about spirit driven. Shango represents male virility, strategy, passion, etc. That is very conducive to the left-hand path because Samael, many masks of the adversary represent that. And that passion is something, or is an emotion or a force that we use in our invocations, our performative utterance. And passion is what we use to fuel our rituals. You must be passionate about anything to be successful about it. See, when you look at the Orisha as archetypes as that's when you could start grasping and getting some knowledge and understanding. I don't have no problem when you're looking at it in that context. I do have a problem when it's, oh, Shango, great master, come down with your great act. Stop. I got a problem with that. I'm sorry. That becomes a problem. But there's a very strong connection with that, right? Because a lot of the deities, when you're working with them in rituals, have a very viral or passionate energy. And the key is understanding it, and most importantly, how to put that into practice in a beneficial way that's conducive for you, right? Passion can be very intense, but how are you using that passion? Gianno. It just depends on how you're using it. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things, right? A lot of the deities, when it comes to male virility and sexual energy, for an example, a lot of them possess that because we know, and I'm not going to get into the whole sexual magic thing, but we know there's power in sexual energy when used correctly. Not just used in a pure lustful form, because then it can be devouring. So this is what I mean when I say you got to be able to understand, one, identify the energy, two, what purpose are you using it for? And most importantly, is it conducive for the purpose you're trying to use it for? Because some people get confused when it comes to sex magic. It's just, where's the fine line between the lust and the spirituality? Some can't identify it. They confuse the two, sometimes as being the same, and it's not. But there is a connection there. All right. Another good point by Ashar. Shango is a devotion to the Orishas and the left-hand path. You become the god by opening the doors with them. True. And Spirit Driven says, Orishi is an internal journey, natural forces that exist within and without. Again, no problem with that, but not everybody has that approach. When you're talking about the micro and the macrocosm, that's what we deal with on this path. We understand the forces of nature in correlation to ourself, but we also understand the power of how that manifests from within via our psyche. Hence the term, the first principle of Tahuti, all is mental, mental is all, the universe is mental. And I was saying earlier, when you're in that chamber, whether you're alone, individually or collectively, it's just you in the darkness, the very essence that all things emerged from. That's how you know if you have real power. There is none of that shit is there anymore. So when we have that understanding and we have that approach, it takes on a whole different meaning. But unfortunately, not everybody has that approach. Not everybody who, quote unquote, and again, I'm not saying you because I don't know, but the traditionalist doesn't have that approach. And most don't look at it like that. As I said a few minutes ago, there is a metaphysical approach. There's meditations, path workings, and rituals you could do with the Orishas, and correlated the 7 major African powers to the 7 chakras, right? This spiritual, I have no problem with those things because you're tapping into energy centers that reside within you. But I'm not going to sit there and put some statue up and gravel in front of it. It's not the same when we have icons of archetypes on our altar. We're not worshiping them. We're not praying to them. We're using them just as symbols and focal points to activate the energy in our psyche. There's a big difference. Okay, so some say, why have a Baphomet image on the altar? Why have an image of Set? Why have an image of Lilith or whatever? Because when you understand, you've established in your mind what it represents. And when you're focused and when you simply gaze upon it, it activates that energy in your psyche. It's just a symbol. That's all it is. That's the way you're supposed to work with it. We don't. One thing we don't do, any great elder teaching, I remember one of my first elders back in the day, when I came in the temple, told me, and that's why you always hear me say this, we don't bow before anything on this path. We bow before nothing and no one. Get that in your head. Quicker you get that in your head, you understand what it means. So that's the difference. The difference is in what? The approach. Am I saying everybody that works with the Orisha has a fucked up approach to it? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the traditionalists. I want to make that clear. I know a lot of people that work with the Orishas or work with Palo in a metaphysical way that the traditionalists will say, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you're not initiated. Oh, you weren't taught by this house, this elder. You don't have the authority to do that. Man, fuck all that shit. I say, fuck all that shit. Because you know how I can prove all that wrong? I'm working with it, and you know what? I get results. My results speak for itself. So that shit you're saying is irrelevant to me. I don't need to come up under any Babalawo, elder priest, and no disrespect. I don't care how long you've been in the game or how short you've been in the game. All I care about is results. If you're doing some shit and it's getting results, talk to me. Let's kick it. I don't give a fuck if you got some title, chief priest, or boogale. I don't give a fuck.
Magus.
It doesn't mean nothing to me. Yeah.
Adept.
Yeah, chief
Exactly.
Frisco oil. It doesn't mean nothing to me, okay? It's irrelevant. And you don't have to agree with what I'm talking about. It's your right. But all I can tell you is this. Only thing I care about is the results that I get. Now, if I wasn't getting results from what I was doing, then I'd have to question things. I'd have to reevaluate things. But you don't have to agree with it. It just may not be for you and vice versa. I know that shit's not for me and I'm not even hesitant on it. But don't get mad if what I'm saying is not in line with your personal opinions or ideology, then personal shit gets involved. Now you're in your emotions. And I really couldn't give a fuck, to be honest with you. Because again, as I've said a million times before, once the camera goes off, there's a fucking memory to me. I go about my life. I don't worry about stuff like that. I gave that shit up years ago. All right. But yes, good point. You guys got anything you want to chime in on before we keep going? I'm gonna keep going through the chat. Anybody got anything they want to add?
Well, I would say this here too.
No, I'm sorry.
I would say this here too, right? So it says somewhere, it's been a long time that I read that book from front to back.
Right.
And it never really satisfied me. But there are gems in there, right? Okay. There are gems. And you said something earlier about faith. And it says in there, you walk by faith, not by sight. Correct. And that's the whole point that, what we're trying to say here is that you can't serve two masters. You can't be looking and looking out. It's an inward journey. That's the whole point. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. That everything literally starts inside of you and reflects outside of you. Right. It starts in the subjective before it can become objective. The chair you sit in started in someone's mind. The couch you sit on, started in someone's mind. And they had to get that vision out so you can sit your ass down somewhere. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has to be formed. The thought is always formed on the subjective first. So you must formulate it on the subjective first before you can bring it into physical existence on the objective level.
Right. So, but what a lot of people miss, though, in those traditional systems, and again, I can only speak about from a Christian standpoint, but you just said something that they do with, what you were saying, it was groveling before a statue, groveling. That's what they do in church. They make you go to the altar and grovel before the Lord, right? AKA.
See?
But it's the same thing.
And then they make you, and these are the same people that were out all weekend drinking, partying, hoeing, and they got a guilty conscience because their religion doesn't teach them how to put it into perspective, because to enjoy yourself on any level is considered a grave sin. So let me pull you to the altar and pull all the guilt out of you, right? And deep down inside, you're so guilty, and then you feel, I got a clean slate. But guess what? As the week approaches, the real you starts to emerge again. You get closer to the weekend. Can't wait to get back out there and party and hang out and have some fun. And then you all starts all over again. I feel guilty. Let me go back to church and get to the sanctifying and saving. See the game? That's religion is built on the precept to make you feel guilty for having any thoughts that are in opposition to their mainstream programming. It's that simple. That's my whole point. Now,
And this
go ahead,
this
go ahead,
ideology, sorry, I was gonna say, this ideology applies to even the gym. So like, people don't, how do I say this? Only you will know what's best for you and what works best for you. Like if you hire a personal trainer, like they're not gonna know what exercises work for you the best. Like you have to go out there and see what you feel the most. It's the same thing with the left-hand path. Like you gotta, look at different things and find what works for you, what works with your personality, things like that. Like you can't have an outside force really tell you. You have to find out on your own.
That's a good metaphor.
Correct. Yeah.
I like that. Akasha, I see your question. I'm going to get to that next, okay? In Facebook, I see your question. Just hang tight. I'm going to come back to you if you're still here. I'm not sure when you type that in, but I'll come back to that. That's a good question. Just one more here, and then I'm going to bounce over to the Facebook real quick. Where did I see it? Where else we go? Don't join the cup of the Boy Scouts now, man, because they getting sued for all types of pedophilia.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let me go. Actually, I thought there was something else here. Let me go to Akasha's question in the Facebook that y'all can't see. Somebody named Akasha. Hopefully, I ain't butchering your last name. Mahakali asks, "What is your view on jinn magic?" I've done videos on it. When you get time. First, I would tell you when you get time, go in the archives and take a look at some of those videos. Jinn magic is a very powerful system, but you must understand the classifications of the jinns that you're working with. Something we utilize this path. I work with the jinns on this path. Like the class of the Ifrit, which some are not familiar with. Look at it like this, and I use this metaphor. We all have seen the movies over the years about genies, right? And unlocking the genie. Now remember, the word genie has root in the word jinn, but nobody pays attention to that.
Nobody pays it, yeah.
Into the Arabic language. That's a whole nother story. So what happens? You unleash the genie from the bottle, right? We all seen this in many movies and stories and mythologies over the year. And then the genie says, I grant you whatever 3 wishes you want. Pay attention now, because this is kind of how the class of the Ifrit work that most people are not aware of. And you say to the genie, well, you don't specify. You say to the genie, I wish to be wealthy, right? That's a vague statement. I wish to be a millionaire. Well, you might gain that by somebody else's tragedy. Somebody close to you might pass away or die. Something tragic might happen when you obtain that wealth because you didn't ask how you wanted to obtain it. So I'm saying that, I'm using that as an example because in them wishes that you're granted or those magical intentions that you're putting out there to receive, if you're not specific, the Ifrit don't give a fuck. They'll make it happen one way or the other. But you might find out after the fact that's not the way you wanted it. So they're very volatile. There's different classes. I'm talking about the more volatile class of Ifrit that are very aggressive. Now, some open those portholes or symbolic genie bottles and let the jinns out, and it can run amok in the practitioner's life because they don't know how to control the energy and send it back through the porthole or dimension or black hole, whatever you want to call it, and then access it and bring it back when need be, which that takes discipline and work. So one, I would say in a nutshell, if you are going to be a practitioner of jinn magic, study wisely the class of jinn that you are accessing. Because you're dealing with spirits of fire, right? They mentioned the jinn in the Quran. They mentioned Jan, J-A-A-N, as the father of the jinn, right? Which is another mask of the adversary. And they're referred to as spirits of fire, right? What is something we drink that's an alcoholic beverage, but it's spelled another way? Gin, G-I-N. What do they call alcohol? Spirits. There's a reason why. Because when somebody gets fucked up and drunk and has too much spirits in them, other energy takes over their body. We call it, I was fucked up, I was drunk. No, you were filled with spirits. You just had no control over those spirits. Well, you can become drunk with the jinn when you don't know how to work with them. That's my whole point. So It's a very powerful path. You can work the jinn as a great form of shadow work. You can work with them to obtain certain things, whether it's finances, improvement in relationships, whatever. It's all I would say, again, simple in a nutshell, straight as I can put it. Educate the class of jinn, educate yourself on the class of jinn you're working with before you carry out rituals. Because then long before you know it, you feel a very disruptive energy in your household. Things can start happening around you. Feelings of anxiety and uncomfortableness, that's usually a sign that you didn't separate or you did not disconnect temporarily from the energy, or you're not in control of it, they're in control of you. And when, for an example, when certain classes of jinn see you're weak, it's very easy for them to prey upon you. Because when you leave the mindset, remember, we control the spirits, they don't control us. When you accept the mindset that they control you, you are now at their mercy. You have now accepted the mind state that you are inferior to the spirit. This is why I've said for years, I can never relate to people sending me emails about trickster spirits. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I've never had a problem with that. And not because I'm special or better than anybody, I've just made sure I've done my work, my research. I've never ever done work with a spirit and felt like I was tricked, confused, or didn't know what I was fucking with, or something went amok. It's never happened. I won't allow it to happen. Let me rephrase it. I identify, and I know the moments. I'm very well aware there's times not to fuck with that because now is not the right time. One, for many reasons, what's going on in my life, the way I feel, and my surroundings and environment. So I'm pretty good at identifying, I might have to put that on pause. Now's the time not to fuck with that. But then there might be other times where I need to fuck with some really raw, aggressive, intense shit. Now's the time to fuck with it. So you know, by again, doing your work. What did we say in the beginning? This path is work. This isn't about reading some books, putting some fancy titles in front of your name. I'm so-and-so, this and that, and all that bullshit. That means nothing to me at all. I got all those titles. I don't talk about it because it doesn't mean shit to me. I got all the certificates from the, Kumbaya school of whatever you want to call it. But they mean nothing because I learned in the darkness when it's time to demonstrate, show, and prove, certificates, titles, accolades, and all that shit holds no weight. Holds no weight. Because I don't give a fuck if you have no title. I've respected people over the years who have come amongst us in the temple, and I've been with them in that darkness. And I didn't know shit about them. And they were just a regular motherfucker you would confuse them for out in the street. But I had mad respect for them because they showed and proved. Okay? And that's all I care about. And it goes back to my point, results. So you could have all these books and you know all this shit and you're spitting all this heavy stuff. It sounds deep, you look deep, but then again, you ain't got no power to demonstrate it. So what does that say for you? That's all I'm saying. It's that simple. So then it's like, oh, okay, well, they read a lot of books, they know a lot of shit, but they can't put any of it into practice. So what's the point? It's pointless. That's my whole point. All right, what else we got? But hopefully that helps you, Akasha. Hopefully that helps you. Yeah, the timing does got to be right too, most definitely. Most definitely. And not just with the jinn, with anything you're doing. Because remember, timing, when you go into the satanic ingredients of black magic, in the Satanic Bible, in the book of Belial, and for any of my people that are in the mentorship program, you know we use that as a foundational tool piece. I show you how to write rituals by using that as your blueprint, writing your own rituals. It's very easy to do. And that's what I show people in the mentorship program. We start out doing things, and now some of you know who you are. You're now sitting down writing rituals from scratch. You never did it before, not because you weren't capable. It's just because somebody just needed to push you in the right direction to show you a different way to think. That's all. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that you weren't capable. But go into the Satanic Bible, Book of Belial, and timing is one of the key components when you're working rituals, whether writing them, performing them, creating them. So most definitely. And that applies to all aspects of the path. All right, what else we got? All right, so powerful being 6'6", Ishara Nocturne says, well, Beelzebub has taught me projection and soul travel. That, yeah, you start tapping in and you get, you know, some of these gifts when you work the path. Powerful being says, when I first gave my, well, hold on, when I first gave myself to my path, working with these energies lets you know you are doing great. It will always remember the ultimate sacrifice of self-giving to the practice of the path, and that's important. Sacrifice. If you think you're going to be on this path and you're not going to sacrifice shit, I can tell you right now, hang it up. You know, hang up the cleats. You know, as they say to the baseball players, time to retire. You know, put the basketball down. You can't hoop no more. If you don't think you're going to sacrifice, what is sacrifice? You're going to go through some shit. Your world gets turned upside down. Your social circle changes. Family relationships sometimes can be destroyed if they're not productive. Career and life path changes is manifest. You will sacrifice a lot. And I like the way you put the word ultimate, sacrifice of self. Look at Kev. Kev's over there with his little honey dip, stroking his chin. Go ahead, Playboy. I'm just joking, man. Tell her don't get embarrassed. It's good, man. You can do that. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We're just having fun. This is perfect. I thought it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Just, you know, if it gets a little nasty, turn the camera up. We don't need to see it.
Make it a little interesting.
That's cool. But yeah, you will sacrifice. But think about this. Anything in life that's worth gaining, obtaining, there's going to be some sacrifice involved. I remember some shit my mother used to say to me. I love to quote my mother because I loved her to death, right? Everything free ain't good for you. That's one thing she used to say to me all the time. Number one. Number two, if it's too good to be true, what? It is.
It ain't true.
It ain't true. That's what my mother used to say to me.
There's a new saying going around right now. It's called if it's free, you're the product.
Thank you. I like that. I like that. If it's free, you're the product. That's a good point. So that's to say in a nutshell, there is no easy way on this path. Don't be deceived. The people that are out there promoting it, hey, just light this stick of incense and a couple of candles and say, oh, great mother goddess, oh, earth goddess, and, you know, come down and shower me with your blood. Doesn't work. Okay? There's no easy way to obtaining something that is rewarding and powerful and life-changing. If you think it's easy, you're full of shit. Anybody that's put in the work, I'm not talking about somebody who was born with a golden spoon in their mouth that maybe say was birthed through inheritance when we're dealing with finances. I'm not just talking about that. I'm not just talking in the sense of that type of wealth. There's nothing more rewarding than knowledge of self. Because as I said many times before, let me read something to you again, to the congregation. Uh-oh, Holy Spirit's coming upon me. Let me go into something. Let me read this for you in the book of Matthew.
Sweet baby.
Everybody bow your head in prayer. No, I'm gonna stop. I use this quote because really this is a left-hand path occult quote. You've heard me say this a couple of times, but let me read it. And I'm reading it, by the way, from the authentic King James Version. So this is the real deal. This is the King James Version. Right? Yeah, that's the real one, you know. Matthew 6, verse 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Now, if you read before that, which I'm not going to do, the disciples were asking Jesus, what are we going to eat if we follow you? And Jesus was left-hand path than a motherfucker, by the way, if you didn't know. He was straight left-hand path for his time. They were questioning him, if we give up all this worldly things and devote ourselves to this, what are we going to eat? Where are we going to get our clothing from? How are we going to survive? Where are we going to live? And that was his answer. We got people that do that shit on this path. You cannot serve two masters. That's my point. People come to this path, oh my God, what's going to happen if I do that? What if I abandon this? What if I do that? Well, seek ye first the kingdom of God, the mask of the adversary of Lucifer in this case, and all things will be added unto you. Then the wealth, the finances, the prosperity, and all that stuff naturally comes because you seek the first and the most important goal, knowledge of self. And what is the first principle that you always hear me talk about? The 5 P's of self-mastery. Mastering yourself. What's the first one? Spiritually. What's the second one? Mentally. Third one, emotionally. Fourth one, physically. Fifth one, financially. Those that are in the mentorship program, I gave you the ritual of the pentagram. I had to work those 5 principles on the pentagram. That's what the mentorship program is about. If you don't want to get down with that, if you're not on this path for those reasons, then what the fuck are you here for? I'm not here to bravo in front of no statue and pray to nothing. I saw where that got me. I saw where it got my ancestors, my mother, my father, my grandparents, my aunties, and my uncles, all buried 6 feet under. Watched them all die pissed, broken, poor. I ain't going that route. Them days is over. Sell that bullshit to somebody else. That's all I'm trying to say. And I don't care if you call it Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Santeria, whatever you're calling it, it's all religion. I don't care for it no more. If you don't like that, I don't care. You don't have to like it. All I'm saying is I don't want it. Okay, if you're caught up in your emotions and your feelings about it, you'll get over it. That's some shit you're gonna have to work out with yourself. Okay. But anyway, what else we got? But good statement, powerful being 666. And that good question, good another comment by Spirit Driven. If you work with the Orisha strictly externally, then you don't know what you're doing. That's true. Isn't Olakun primordial? Most definitely. She is one of, now some don't know if it's a she or a he. I think it's irrelevant. It's a very androgynous energy, Olakun. It's the spirit of the deep waters of the abyss. It's very similar to what we would liken on this path as Tiamat. Not much different. And there's a very internal and spiritual aspect to Olakun that's not talked about. So that's a very good point. And you're right. Again, the traditionalists have more, not all, but most traditionalists have the external approach. So I agree. If you are that person in that category, again, you need to reevaluate that. But that's a good point you bring up, Olakun, a very Tiamat energy that emerges from the primordial chaos of Leviathan, or the primordial chaotic energy. That's an excellent synchronization. And that's how I now in the occult, if somebody said, how would you look at Olakun from an occult perspective? That's how I would look at it. That's a good point. Excellent point. Donald James, shout out to brother Donald James. I was playing his track in the beginning of the show. Check him out. I love that track. The beat is mesmerizing. It puts me in a good vibrational move. I believe it's if I'm wrong and you're still here, I believe I can't remember what it is. It's on SoundCloud or put the platforms. I can't remember now. I'm drawing a blank. I think it's SoundCloud if I'm not mistaken. But check him out. He's got some other tracks on there. I'm gonna play some of his other stuff too in the future and some of the other artists. But check him out. Good stuff, good production. So shout out to brother Donald James. Positive Journey. This is Real Truth. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Powerful Band 666 G shit. That's right. Yeah. Look, is it for everybody? No. We say this all the time. Is this for everybody? It's not. And that's okay. All we're saying is if you want to be Wiccan, you want to be a devoted religious Christian, Muslim, Jew, Orisha worshiper, Kabbalah, whatever, all that, that's cool. We're not saying you can't be. Nobody has a right to tell you what you can and cannot do. That's not what we're telling you. What we are saying, I'm saying, don't come in my midst with that nonsense and call it a cult and left-hand path, because I'm going to have to address it. It is what it is. I ain't trying to step on nobody's toes. I'm trying to step on necks. I'm trying to crush some necks. So just so we get that clear. And I'm not gonna fluff it up for anybody or dumb it down. And it's
toes.
Yeah. I ain't trying to step on toes. I'm trying to step on necks. Because personally, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of getting. Go ahead. Say what you're saying. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, like it's that, like that whole being scared of stepping on his toes or whatever. Like that's that whole PC culture. Just do your thing and don't give a shit. It's all about results. Who gives a shit? If you don't like it,
go ahead.
Cares?
No, that's right. And one thing I'm glad you said that, because one thing I've also been saying for many years, one of the first things on this path you must adapt and adjust to and learn is not to care about what other people think. That's a problem on this path. Go ahead.
With that is the whole like the yes man thing. Like there was a Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns goes broke because everyone around him are yes men, and they say, "Oh yeah, your stocks are doing good, yeah." and all of a sudden he's broke, you know, because they were scared to hurt his feelings or whatever.
Right.
So it hurt him in the end. So like,
That's
you know,
what we call
if you're like
being-
with your friends, it hurts them in the end.
That's what we call being a conformist. That's the second key principle we always teach on this path. You must learn to take a non-conformist mentality and approach. So a lot of the things that we might talk about, speak on, or voice our opinion or express through our work and our path is very non-conformist in nature because it's not mainstream. And not everybody can do that because they're afraid of what people will think. What will they say about me? What will these group of people think about me? What will my friends and family think about me? Well, if those are your concerns out the gate and you're gonna be stressing and worrying over that, again, it's not the path for you. You might as well hang it up. If you're worried about, you know, what this Mickey Mouse club or group is doing, and if they know I'm into this, what are they gonna think of me? They're gonna kick me out of the Mickey Mouse club or group. And again, it's not the path for you, man.
Yeah, this whole path is all about you as the individual. So you can't care what even your parents have to say about it. It's all about you.
That's correct. That is correct. And it's important we understand that. So good points. All right. Lady Shalise, I don't know if you're still here. I emailed you. I know you joined the mentorship program. I sent you 2 emails trying to set up a mentorship call. Not sure if you're busy, but check your email. Okay. But she writes a comment. This brings you out in front. This brings you out in front of you, the power you really have, not what you really think you may have. And there's a difference. And I think I was talking with Raven about that earlier. There's a difference between thinking and knowing, okay? We can think a lot of shit. It doesn't mean it's true. It becomes knowing when you can actually manifest it and come to the realization of the reality or the truth of it. That's personal. That's when you know. And again, I did a video a couple of years ago. I've mentioned it a few times. Is there such thing as one ultimate truth? Most people will say yes. Truth is not a reality to the individual until they raise themselves up to the realization of it. Because I can make a statement of something that's true to me based on my experiences in my work, but another person may hear it because they may not have experienced it or been raised to that point. It's not a reality to them. So therefore they cannot accept it as true, and vice versa. That could apply to me going the other way. Truth is personal. Each individual is trying to find their own personal truth. So when you find your own personal truth and that manifests your own real reality, as we say, then you're on the journey on this path. Because when you've gotten to that point, you've now separated yourself from all the illusionary, traditional, nonsensical shit that's not needed no more in your life. That's another key component on this path. Stripping away from yourself things that are not necessary anymore. That's a tough one. Because sometimes we're comfortable in those things. It's hard for us to let go. I like to go to church. It's just, it feels good. So you like the tradition of it, but
They like the social aspect of it.
and that's cool.
It's like what Raven was saying earlier, the whole group thing.
Right.
That's what, you know, go back to the gym stuff. Like that's why you have the group workout sessions, because they can't just go to the gym and work on themselves by themselves. They have to have a group, you know, like, oh, yeah, we're all working together. Yeah, it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Look, I do believe there's a time like we do it with rituals here.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, there's a time and there's a different energy when you're doing a collective ritual as a group. And then obviously there's a time when you got to do obviously your individual personal work. Same thing, essentially what you're saying. But sometimes, as you said, some people don't know how to be by themselves and work with themselves. So what that is, and that tells me, and it's very simple to identify, they got insecurities and fears. They lack motivation, they lack desire, they lack passion. And there's something, the insecurity and the fear comes in where they need a crutch to lean on. That could be an ideology, a concept, or an individual. That's the point. So this is why I'm saying this path is not for everybody, because this path, when you first enter and you start drawing closer to the isolated consciousness, it's the first phases are about ripping all that stuff away from you. And then it can be very lonely and hard in them first stages. Because I get those emails all the time. You know what? I came on this path about 4 or 5 months ago. I'm going through some serious changes. It feels very lonely and isolated. You know how many emails I've got like that over the last 7, 8 years? And I respond back, that is an awesome, great thing. What? You're at the door now. You're at the threshold. You're entering the pylon or the gates, as they say in ancient Egypt, right? It gets better. But now because once we really see all the external shit that we've surrounded ourselves with, which really are just objects to block us from really accepting the real you or understanding who you really are. So we bury it and circle and immerse ourselves in friends, social circle, materialistic things, groups, clubs, this certain image that we spend our whole life projecting. I want this person to see me as this. I want to be known as this cool, trendy, hip individual. Oh, I got to let the neighbors know I got the latest gadgets. See, you start realizing all of that, it becomes lonely because you say, shit, all of that was the illusionary self. None of that shit was real. Now, don't correlate that to being broke and not successful. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you're focused on the point of where you're outside of yourself to where you're more focused on impressing other people and not worried about impressing yourself. Because I don't give a shit what the outside person thinks of. If I have nice things, I embellish myself in them and I enjoy them for myself and those around me. Not because I'm worried about what the neighbor on the right or the left thinks. I couldn't give two flying fucks. It's irrelevant to me. But once you strip all the illusionary aspects of the self away and you go, oh shit, this is some crazy shit. I didn't know this is me. This is what's really here. And you realize when all the fake shit is stripped away, you say, I got some work to do. Shadow work, people. Damn, this is what's going on. Damn, this is why I'm like I am. This is why that happened. This is why I think the way I think. This is why I was put in the situations I was put in. And now you ain't got nobody to blame. But who? Your motherfucking self. And that's a hard pill for people to swallow. Not everybody can do that. Because they want to, oh, somebody's doing work on me. Oh, people are out to get me. Oh, somebody's working roots on me. Oh, somebody's doing witchcraft. Oh, this person took advantage of me. Do we ever once stop and say, if you were in bad relationships and you let fucked up people in your life and fucked up people in your house, whose responsibility is that? And then we have people that do the same thing over and over. They leave one bad relationship and they hop right into another one. You just got used and abused by a person. They left and then you go move somebody else in. Now you got to ask yourself, what fear, what insecurities do I have that I keep allowing this to happen to myself? Don't blame it on, oh, this person took advantage of me. Oh, this person's doing foul shit. Oh, this person lied to me. But who made the decision to allow that person in your presence? Who made the decision to allow that person into your home? Who made the decision to open their legs and allow that person between their legs? You did. Who you gonna blame for that? Huh?
Mike keeps it real.
Keeps it real. Now you hear crickets. Now, quick. Some of you are probably sitting there thinking, damn, I'm pretty fucked up. But guess what? It's okay. It don't mean you're not a strong or a good person. It just means there's shadow work to be done. We all got shit we got to deal with. And it's an ongoing process. We all fuck up and make mistakes, and that's okay. It becomes a problem when you keep doing the same mistakes over and over. Now you got a problem. Now there's something really deep you got to look into. But when
there's a phrase, if you do it once, it's a mistake.
Right.
If you keep repeating it, it's a choice, it's a habit.
Or that's long line. Once, first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. You understand? It's all along that line of that ideology. If you learn from your mistakes, no problem. But I just don't understand when we talk about relationships, whether it's male or female, and it seems always in society to be more females, unfortunately. I never understood, like you see a female who's got a history of bad or abusive relationships, right? And then you say, damn, you just got out of one, now you're in another one. You just left that one, now you're in another one. Why do you should be asking yourself, why do you keep attracting these fucked up dudes that treat you like shit? Then when they start digging, then you find out their mother was usually in abusive relationships, either by the father or even relationships after that. So they grew up seeing that, and it had an impactful, traumatic effect on their life. And it became subconsciously stamped in their mind that it's okay to be in them type of relationships. I'm telling you, that happens a lot. So now we got to ask ourselves, how do I stop that chain? Well, that's what shadow work is about. That's what we do on this path. Why is this happening? We don't just want to know, oh, don't worry about it. Pray it away. Ask Jesus to, remove him. No. Say, shit, what the fuck is going on here? I got to start making some better decisions. I got to learn to say motherfucking no. Why can't I say no? Why do I keep allowing this to happen? And you get the answers and you go to work. See the difference what we do on this path? We're not waiting for somebody to do it for us. I'm not going to call some spiritual guru and pay them money to do a ritual for me to fix my problems. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Only a weak person does that. And if you get sucked into that shit and you're falling for the hoopla, pay me $2,000 and I can remove this spirit off of you. There's a sucker born every minute. That's what you are, sucker. Straight sucker. When you have the knowledge and the ability to do it yourself. Now, anybody knows that if you've done consultations with me, I show you how to do it for yourself. And I've told you word verbatim, and some of you in this room right now, I don't do shit for you. That's not how I operate. I get paid for my time and giving you the instructions and gathering the resources you need to do it for yourself. And then I get that call a week or two later. I gathered that, I did it, I performed it myself. Man, that shit worked. And what did it cost you? Pennies on the dollar. And I know people that go to all these spiritual gurus and spend thousands of dollars. A year, 2, 3 years later, they out a couple $1,000. That's about it. Because they don't want to take the time, energy, effort, and work to do it for themselves. Mm-hmm. It's just they think they can buy their way and obtain their spirituality. You can't. If you think you're going to buy your success for paying somebody else to do it for you, nothing's free. If you are paying somebody to do dark sorcery, black magic, or witchcraft, you're going to find out later it's not free. Trust me, it's not. Well, that's a conversation for another time. What else we got here? You guys got anything you want to add? No? Okay. All right, what else we got here? Positive journeys. I'm sorry, I was looking at something up on my Facebook. Positive Journey says, thanks for giving us real examples without fluff. That's all I can do, and I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to give you the fluff. Is it always? I know not everybody's going to agree with what I say, and I'd be foolish to think that they would. I've said that 1,000,000 times on the videos. But at the same token, I'm not concerned about that. All I do here is put information out. What you do with it is your business. I don't care what you do with it. That's your business. Love it, like it, hate it, take it for what it is. That's personal. You decipher and you assimilate it how you need to. That's where it becomes personal. So you can go, Beniti, I love you. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. You go, Beniti, I hate your fucking guts. I can't stand you. I don't even like any of the bullshit you're saying. Guess what? When I turn this video off, I'm gonna go chill and this becomes a memory. I don't even care. I'm not emotionally invested like that. All right. What else we got? Powerful Being says, I love Melik Taus. I love working with Melik Taus too. Melik Taus is a very mystical, powerful. He's got that ancient Eastern mystical vibe to him, is the best way I can describe it. We've actually done a ritual with him on the Patreon channel. We've done some classes. If you like working, it's got that jinn energy to it. If you like Eastern philosophy, left-hand path, occult practices, that's the best way in a short nutshell I can describe Melik Taus. Now, I'm very intrigued and always have been with the Yazidi culture, and that's how I gravitated towards him, which is, again, another mask of the adversary. But he can be a very knowledgeable, inspiring archetype to work with. But I will also tell you this. When I say there's a trickster aspect to him, not in the sense of deception, he will put challenges and tests in your path to see how you overcome them. He's that type of spirit. And there's always some lesson, some very deep, knowledgeable lesson to learn personally on an internal level. That's what I love about working with Melic Taus in the form. Now, if you look on my bottom altar, you guys might have seen it in the video. I have a big representation of the peacock angel in this form. I have a whole section on a bottom portion of my altar to Melic Taus. So yeah, I definitely would encourage practitioners on the path who have not experienced or done any research or work with him, look into it. I think you won't be disappointed. Spiritualism says, how old is the wind, air, fire, and water? You can't put no time frame on that. We're talking about elements. But when we go back to, I was mentioning this one time before, what we know in metaphysics as the three, metaphysics and science, and in spirituality as the three stages of creation, right? Primary, territory, or earthly creation. When we go back to the elements, right? We're talking about what we know before as physical creation. These are elements, right? You can't put a time frame on wind or air, right? When you look at the elemental chart that makes up creation, in order for physical creation to have manifested, the element chart had to exist prior to the physical creation of those elements coming together, when we're looking at it from that perspective. So the more important question is, how do we work with those elements? Because basically, those are the four key component elements every individual should have on their ancestral altar. Because who makes up the fifth element? That's you. And anybody who knows has done work with me, I always ask you the first question. Do you have the four basic elements on your ancestral altar? You should have, if it's earth, it should be like on mine, I have sand from the pyramids in ancient Egypt, graveyard dirt, some form of earth element. Fire is usually in the form of the flame, which could be a candle. Wind is always in the form of the smoke of the incense. And obviously water, one of the most important elements, which represents life. Water, you cannot even put a time frame on, because there's an old saying in science, water finds its way back to water. So think about this. If I pour water right now on the floor in my house, at some point it dissolves, or what we say evaporates into the ethers and finds its way back to water. Water existed before you existed, because you resided in the womb of your mother for 9 months in a sack of water before you were physically birthed through the womb canal of your mother. We can even go further back with water. It's a good question, but I think we need to understand, again, the elements in correlation to ourselves. And how do we work with those elements through our spiritual practices? You have to understand those elements if you are a magician, because a magician works with the elements in nature, right? Knows how to manipulate them for a beneficial factor, right? So there's a science behind that, because the thing is, when we combine wind, air, fire, and water, what do we really have? Think about it, okay? All right, what else we got? What else? Question. Kev, what you doing over there, man? You got all types of shit going on. Cats,
Just
dogs,
chilling, man.
crocodiles, hamsters, gerbils.
That's
Fish.
my girlfriend's cat.
That's a cute ass cat, though. That's a pretty cat. I like that cat.
That cat is 18 years old.
Get the.
Yeah.
That's an OG cat. So let's see him. Bring him out. Bring him out. That was a beautiful cat. Oh, man.
Come on.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That is awesome. 18 years old.
Yeah.
Probably got more wisdom than some other stuff.
Yeah, she's a.
So what else we got?
She's a little witch. She's a Wiccan witch.
I'm just looking for some questions. I might skip through some of the comments for the purpose of time. But this is a good one by JRLHP Alchemy. Left-hand pad. Identify addressing my weakness in areas of improvement, turning my weaknesses into strength. That's what it's about. I mean, if you're not here for that, I don't know why you're here. Don't get caught up in the Hollywood aspect of this path and the movie aspect and the mainstream hip aspect. You know, I want to wear black and pentagrams and, it's not what it's about. It goes a lot further than that. What else we got? Yes, the path is about consistency, big time. I can't put it no other way. It's about consistency. Shaw said Jesus should have saved that change to feed something better than fish. Yeah. I mean, hey, I did a video a little while back on, was Jesus a black magician? Jesus was doing all types of tricks and performing magic and mastering and manipulating the elements and alchemy. That's something they normally did in Egypt, where he was taught that. People in the Bible, he performed miracles. That stuff wasn't miracles to the great mystics and magicians in ancient Egypt. It wasn't a miracle to them. Because when you read the stories, right, you always ask, I love this when I've asked this to pastors. You read the story of Jesus, there's his birth in the 4 synoptic gospels, right? Then after his birth, you don't hear shit from the age of his birth to 12 years old. He appears in the temple in Jerusalem teaching the elders and the scribes, and they're completely confused at what he's teaching. Then he disappears, he goes into Egypt, and then he comes back, and then you don't pick up till he's 30, and you get the last 3 years of his life. So Jesus lived. Now think about all the other prophets now. Think about this for a minute. All the other prophets in the Bible that lived for hundreds of years, according to the stories. I'm just saying, according to the stories. And you got a thorough aspect of their life, all the years, all the things they did. Jesus, you only really getting about 3.5 to 4 years of his life. What was going on the other 29.5 to 30 years? When he asked those questions, what's the connection with Egypt, right? Why all of a sudden when he came back to Egypt, he was all of a sudden able to perform all these miracles that they were miracles, where some of the Pharisees said, oh, he's a devil, or he calls upon, he's a sorcerer. That's why I said, was Jesus a black magician or a sorcerer? Yes, he was, because he knew the sciences. I look at Jesus as one of the greatest left-hand path magicians that ever walked the planet. Whether you accept it literally or figuratively, I'm just saying, according to the stories. Okay? So you can look at this book 2 ways. And if you don't think I know this, well, look at all the yellow markings and shit in here. Okay? You got to know this book, because this can be poison or this can be used as a tool of power. It just depends on what your understanding of it is. So I'm going to teach you the occult understanding of it. I ain't going to teach you the faith and become a slave understanding of it. Okay? All right, what else we got?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. The congregation say amen. All right, JR says, what's up, Raven? Everyone, good to hear from you, no doubt. Lady Shalice says, but yet all those gods have love of wealth and beautiful things. And we should, all of us should. All right, what else we got? Okay, just looking for some questions for the sake of time. I'm not skipping anybody's personal comments, but I don't know if I can get through all of them. All right, what else we got? Here we go. This one says, oh, where'd it go? Damn. Shit. Hold on. Okay. Give me 1 second. Thank you for the donation, Shara. Just saw it now. What else we got? Hold on. My thing completely skipped on me. Give me a second. That thing did a super. It must have got loaded with comments because it thing jumped. Okay, here we go. Shara says, I keep hearing talk of Solomon Pentacles. It is on my list to study. I'm glad you bring that up. Let me address that, because that can become very religious too. The Pentacles of Solomon go back, actually. The jinns, the spirits, the demons that you read about in some of those pentacles go way back before the time of Solomon. It is a good area to study. By all means, you should look into it. But just be careful. There's a lot of religious shit out there. That too, the Pentacles of Solomon has almost become a religion in itself. So be careful with that. But yes, It's known in some of the mysteries that Solomon used the jinn to build Solomon's temple because he was able to command the jinn. There's some powerful understanding in there when you really look at it in its correct context. But there's some people that have got mad religious with it. But just wanted to put that out there. All right, what else we got? This is a good comment by Kiona. What is also notable is that particularly some people, and let's talk about this is good. What is also notable is that particularly some people feel like they can't work with other races, especially European spiritual systems, but not realizing they may have that in their blood. And that's true. There's two things we got to look at. One, when we talk about connecting with our ancestors, regardless if you are Black, white, or Latino, you must acknowledge all aspects of your DNA. Regardless if you like, disagree, hate, or love. You cannot fully embrace and connect with your ancestors and just pick and choose what you want to connect with as far as understanding it. I'm not saying you got to work with all of it, but you need to accept and acknowledge. Most people don't want to do that. So that's a good point. Now, as far as spiritual systems, here's the funny thing. A lot of people think this path, the left-hand path, and a lot of the paths that are affiliated with it, people think that this is a European system, and it's not. It has its origins back into the pre-dynastic Egyptians, number one. Not that it matters, because I'm not making it a Black or a white thing, but I'm putting that out there for those that might be of melanated ethnicities. This is not a path that is exclusively European. And ask yourself this: why is it a lot of Europeans have gravitated towards it? Because, and left a lot of that other shit alone, because they recognize the importance is to recognize what the path is and what it represents. And you've just basically identified why some melanated people don't connect with the path, because there's not that cultural, traditional thing they feel comfortable with, say in Ifa or Santeria. That's the real reason. That's basically what you answered, whether you were aware of it or not. And that's the problem. This path predates all that shit. As I said earlier, if we're going to talk about time frame, if that's important to you, it's not really important to me anymore. It used to be years ago. I used to debate a lot of historical time frame data, but as I got older, I found out the important thing is, what is the information doing for you? How are you putting it into practice, and how are you getting results? I'm not really interested in all that semantics and arguing all that historical data, because all it does is it's a back and forth argument of fuckery. And because this person wants to prove, I know this, you don't, my information's better than yours, blah, blah, blah.
Egos.
Yeah, egos. I don't waste my time with that no more. I'm not gonna lie, back in the day I did. So I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't back in the day, but I was young and dumb. I don't care to do that anymore. No, I don't bother, waste my time with that. But good, that's a good point. All right. Eddie Clark says, I've read that the original pentagram is a variation from the Ara star, from the third spirit of the Necronomicon. Yes, that is in the Necronomicon grimoire. If you work with the Necronomicon and you work with those spirits, you can find it in there. Just, it's also even the 6-pointed star you find in the ancient temples of Samaria. It's not, doesn't have its origin in Judaism. So yes, there is a lot of data that you can uncover, and there's connections. Again, the real inverted pentagram and how we work with it, we trace it back to points of origin on those paths. And that's why I said it's different, again, from working with this aspect of the pentagram, totally different, okay? Don't confuse the two. If you weren't here earlier, this is Wiccan, earth magic. It has nothing to do with the occult or left-hand path, that 5-pointed star right there. When it's displayed like that, it is pagan, Wiccan, earth magic, nothing to do with the occult or left-hand path. It's very new agey, as opposed to the one that's very familiar, the 5-pointed, okay? Totally different. We need to understand that, all right? You will never see anybody who says they are a true left-hand practitioner wearing the first one. Okay, what else we got? But good input there. Yeah, a lot of people Shara straddle the French with Wicca. I call it Wacca. That's what I call it. It's Wacca. I'm just joking. I mean, for people that do it, I mean, if you want to, you know, if you're a dude, you want to wear the Viking helmet and dance around in a circle and to Odin and all that shit, you know, knock yourself out. If you want to dance to Dina, the moon goddess, knock yourself out. It's very, very entertaining the best thing I could say. Yeah, this is a good one here too, by Shah. I had to cut out working. There's another one that bothers me. Archangels. I did too many rituals to break away from Jehovah's Witness religion. I don't even do it. Left hand, lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram, the LBRP. I've said that before. We don't do banishing on this path. Any true left-hand path practitioner will tell you we don't do that. We're not trying to destroy any energy or remove any energy. It's all comes from the primordial chaotic root and source. A good magician knows how to work with all energy and how. We don't try to destroy it because you can't, okay? It can consume you because you're confirming if I have to banish something, I'm confirming I have fear of that energy that it can consume or hurt or destroy me. So we don't do that, okay? Now, this archangel thing that a lot of people work with, it's very new agey, Kabbalah, mysticism, Hebrew mysticism. Again, that's fine. If you want to work with it, that's fine, but it's not a cult or left-hand path. It's basically Kabbalah, mysticism, and new age. So yeah, I don't really deal with any of that stuff. I don't work with archangels and Raphael and the Ninja Turtles and all that shit. I don't work with the Ninja Turtles. Again, if that's your thing, you want to work with Donatello and Raphael and Michael and all that shit, knock yourself out. I'm not saying you can't. And power to you if you do. I'm just saying I don't fuck with it. Okay? It can be a little confusing. When you're mixing it with this, no doubt. Yeah, there's another concept with that. Joe Gardens, about one of the planets, he says, I think it's Venus, which makes a pentagram, a star in the sky over the earth, which is the circle. I've heard that before. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things we can correlate it to, metaphorically, and how we can connect that spiritually to the path. Yeah, and all those things are fine, as long as we put it in its correct context. That's fine. All right. What else we got? Spirit driven says, so then the Orisha does belong on the left path if you know how to apply it. Got it. Yes, if you know how to apply it, no doubt. I still have certain, like I basically work with the 7 African powers as gateway deities to the dead. And there's a connection with Mamacita back here, Santa Muerte, right? Nobody ever asks why there's a 7-colored aspect of Santa Muerte. And is there a connection with the 7 African powers? Yes. There is an occult left-hand path way to work with the Orisha. That's the only way I work with it. I am not going to know Babalawo or priestess or padrino or madrina and do all that groveling and worshiping anymore. I did that. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, not interested. So there's that way to work with it, and that's fine if that's your choice, but then there's the way we work with it. So yes, as long as you know how to apply it, and that's the most important thing in your state, no doubt. All right, what else we got? Shit, skipped on me again. I ain't got time to go back. Sorry. I'm just going to keep going through this thing. Is I guess you guys are loading it with comments. Excuse me. Yes, saw this comment earlier, and I think that's where it skipped. Kua had said about religion making you feel guilty or something like that. Yeah, and I talked about that earlier. That's what it does. It makes you feel guilty about the things you think or the problems you may have, and makes you think there's something wrong and you need to go repent and have it all washed away through all the bullshit. It's a mind fuck game. And Vision TG, you're right on point. Yes. Sometimes the Orisha shit can become more religious than Christianity. I found some Santeria practitioners are even worse than religious Christians. They become so fanatical in their approach. It's mind blowing. I literally, I can't do that. Oh, Oshun, if I do that, Oshun's gonna be mad at me. Really? Wait, you think there's some spirit somewhere called Oshun that's gonna be mad at you because you didn't bring her a pineapple, or you didn't bring her some offering? If that's not a serious form of mental slavery and fuckery, I don't know what is. But there's people that think like that. Something went wrong. I gotta go see the Babalawo find out why my car broke down and why I fell down a flight of stairs. I'm serious. And then the Babalawo, who, if he's a hustler, or the priest or priestess who's a hustler, oh, I got this motherfucker. Yeah. I consulted Oshun to say you need to do this ritual. It's gonna cost. I can fix it for you, but it's gonna cost $500. I'm serious. This is shit that happens. And then they go, oh shit, I better do this. Oshun's mad at me. I'm telling you, I dealt with these people for you. I know. This is the type of nonsense you deal with. Ishara Nocturna says, yes, with the Ifrit, you must use precise words. The class of Jinn, no doubt. Spirit driven, you always clowning. You about to, I know you dead serious about summoning that Bacchus spirit. It's all good. Enjoy yourself. Yeah, she's always coming in here with some very good. Tamika Hill, what's going on, Tamika Hill? Yes. This ain't Disney witchcraft. Let's write down. Tell him, brother. Yeah, Vision T says the Lilith path ate me up. Had to pull myself together. Lilith will do that. Lilith will rip you to shreds inside out so she can resurrect the real you. The best way I can describe Lilith is beautiful, aggressive, violent, tormentful, rageful, warrior, and blissful, all packaged up in the same thing. That's the type of shit you're working with. That can be overwhelming, because how can something, so, as some would classify, aggressive, terrifying, be beautiful and blissful at the same time? That's the type of shit you're working with. That's the type of shit you're working with, understanding. This ain't, the people that are presenting this shit to you, like I see this with Lilith and Kali, and oh, she's the great mother goddess. I see this with Hecate. That's that new age shit. Be careful. That shit will get you fucked up. That's not how we work with it on this path. That's not the Lilith, the real Lilith energy. Because there is a new age fluffy aspect that has evolved over the last several years. Because I see people try to promote Lilith as this new age fluffy mother goddess. That's not what she is. Okay? You'll find that out the hard way if you tap into this path. And guess what? Sometimes it'll be a little too late. But don't get caught up in that, oh, great mother goddess, goddess of the earth, shower you of the blessings upon me. There's that shit. And then there's the other Lilith, like, man, take your punk panties off, bitch. There's that Lilith. And you don't want to fuck with that one, thinking it's the, oh, mother goddess, I love you, come forward and shower you. I've seen that one fuck people up. But it exists, it's out there. I don't fuck with none of that stuff. I'm gonna make that clear. I don't promote none of that. I don't encourage any of that, because I'd be doing you a disservice if I did. If I wanted to promote a platform of new age fluffy shit, then I'd be doing that. I would be saying, yes, oh sacred loved one, welcome, cloud child. Come amongst our beautiful men, all that shit. I can't do it. I'd be doing you a disservice, okay? Lady Seppian, the name on sound, I think if you just Google Donald James on SoundCloud, you can find his music. Donald James, if you're still in here, put your information in where people can connect with your music. Just type it in the chat so people can find it. There he goes, right there. I see it, I think he did on the bottom here. You got to pardon me. This shit is skipping all over the place on me. Lady Shlee says, Olokun energy, I feel like it's the Leviathan energy. It is. Because you're dealing with a deity of the primordial watery abyss. It's almost when you're dealing with Nun in ancient Egypt, right? Primordial chaotic waters. And it represents the great mother, because the womb, or the primordial chaotic waters of Nun, or the primordial chaotic waters of Olokun, is representation again of the water and the sac of the womb of the female that we all survived and lived and was submerged in, cleansed and bathed in for 9 months before we were birthed into the universe and thought this was living. And that's when we began to die. The moment you came out your mom's vaginal canal, you started to die. Don't get it twisted. Okay? All that embryonic fluid and stuff they're cleaning off you that they think is stuff that needs to be cleaned, those are the very life substances that kept you afloat, that kept you living. And as soon as they were removed from you, you began to die. We're all on a death to die. We're all on a journey to die to live. Let me say that again. We're all on a journey to die to live. It's that simple. I know other pastors are going to tell you otherwise. I know they're going to spook it out. I know they're going to give you this kumbaya, hold hands, we all one shit. It's just not the truth. I'm sorry. Don't confuse this. This here is just a temporary stop. So enjoy it, master it, and embellish yourself in it because it's temporary. It doesn't mean be miserable. It doesn't mean take a spooky approach and don't enjoy life, because that's the fanatical approach. Find the fine line between the two. Find the harmony between the two. Don't torture yourself like that. But understand your purpose, why you're here. Understand where you came from, and most importantly, understand where you're going. That's the problem. Most motherfuckers don't know where they're going. So they become Buddhists. They become militant Islamists. They become
motherfuckers don't even know who they are.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
you can't even get there if you don't know who the hell you are.
That's
They're
right.
not even there.
Nah,
Okay, I done woke up. Hold up. I'm up.
Yo, Raven, before I forget, put your information in there. Let me say this real quick, because she always forgets.
Okay, let me tell you right now.
Mhm.
Okay,
Raven for like an hour.
so these son of a gun. Okay, they always like to portray that they are more than what they are. There's something, it's the I call it now the internet of things, right? Because that's what everyone, because they can hide earlier to the comment about the keyboard gangsters. So everybody is now the internet of things. They're never truly who they are. It's rare to find genuine people alone. But now they just use this face and facade of the internet to portray something that they are not. Okay, then you're going back to shadow work. But then they don't never want to find out and address who they are. They would rather hide and mask it. And sorry, that was bad. They rather hide and mask who they are to please people outside of their monkey ass. Okay, which should be irrelevant. Just to your point, you're here to make it to the land of the living, right? You're here to have an experience, to learn some things, but they don't want to learn. They want to be what everybody else is and be liked, and kumbaya,
It's the Mickey Mouse Club.
Mickey Mouse Club.
People there's that sense of I got to be in with what everybody else is doing, because God forbid I do my own thing. I should say, my God forbid I do my own thing, right? But yeah, and that's essentially, what it's about. Some get it, unfortunately, some don't.
Because it's work. Because they're gonna uncover some about themselves that they don't want to face. That they have been taught is bad, right? They've been taught that through Christianity or whatever they were doing before Buddhism. I've studied all of that. But I didn't do too much of that research. Anyway,
I studied Buddhism. I've studied Buddhism.
Buddhism.
All right,
I studied all types of booties, big, small, thick, So I've mastered Buddhism, but I don't know about Buddhism.
Yeah. Buddhism.
But before I forget, put in your information. Raven, who doesn't, in my opinion, put it out there like enough she should. As you know, she makes soaps, essential oils, I believe herbs, baths, crystals, and candles, makes phenomenal candles. She makes a lot of the oils we use in our rituals down here. Several times, I know Brother Seth Athna and some other people after the ritual, like, what the fuck was that? Let me buy some, and it's good stuff. I'm not just saying this because I know I've used it several times in money magic with some of my candles and my finance rituals. I can attest. Obviously, your importance is on YouTube. So by all means, I'm not saying you're going to buy her oil or any oil and anointed candle. You're going to hit the lotto. It's not what the
Okay,
fuck
well,
it's
I
saying.
was just about to tell you correct that
Okay.
bullshit because I want to think because they done got some stuff that is a miracle worker. I'm not your miracle worker.
No, it
But
also
yeah.
it can enhance. It centers around your personal power as a magician when you know how to use it.
I'm not baby Jesus.
Exactly. She's also got a YouTube channel. I'm going to ask her to put that in. She's just getting it up and running. And she is working on putting videos out about the herbs and the crystals and the work that she does. And she's going to put some.
Hold on. Okay. I got it. All right, good people. So yeah, I do a lot. I do a lot. I have a lot I have to manage in my day. Um, all of my hard work is bringing me work. I have a lot of work, so I'm trying to.
Especially that fat ass cat. You got to see this cat she got. It weighs about 200 pounds. I'm not kidding. This cat looks like she showed it one time. She showed it one time. I think I was on a feed a while back. This cat looks like a monster.
Yeah, she sent me a picture. I was like, that cat be eating
right?
good.
Man, let me tell you something. That cat looks so goddamn fat. Like, that cat needs a treadmill. That's all I can tell you.
That's what I got to work on.
You need to get that cat to the gym.
No, so the thing, well, a quick side note, since you brought up Missy Elliott, so that's her name, Jessica named her Missy Elliott, right? And so I had put a post one time because the real Missy Elliott lost a lot of weight, and I put a post and said this Missy Elliott needs to do the same thing as the other one. But the new thing she did today and just had me livid is I put the food bowl down. And I came back to the computers because, again, I'm working. I have multiple jobs, right? So I'm working, and I just happen to turn around, and she's laying on the floor eating. She's laying down eating. I was like, I picked the food up. I was like, you need to be on that 600-pound life for that doctor to fix her. But anyways, I digress. But so yeah. So I'm getting my YouTube channel together. My computer crashed, and my cousin, when she was here, she just got everything back up and running. So my computer is back up. I had some pre-recorded content that I got to record all over again because I lost it. My brother is doing the background music to him because I want music. So my brother's doing that for me. So yeah, I'm putting some pieces together. And
ain't you gonna have that 70s music from Shaq?
Thinking about it. Okay, might do 50s, but yeah, working on my website. I do candles. The candles are either soy candles or palm wax candles. I do I do have some content up on the YouTube that addresses all of this here. So the candles that I use them. The wax that I use for a reason. The oils that I use for a reason. Everything I do is a reason behind it, not because it's a fad. It's a reason. I just noticed that the more naturally, I just realized the more natural a thing is, the better a conductivity it is. That's just my deal. My oils, I like making my own oils. The oils that they don't work for me. They may work for somebody else because I get it. I get it. But for me, because I dealt between the two, there's a difference when you do. The connection is cleaner for me. When I'm using my own, or using organic oils or whatever it is I'm using. So there you go. Yeah, the same with the soaps. The soaps are not they essential oils. I can't do fragrance stuff on a lot of things, and so that's what got me into the soap making and the candle making because I love candles. I've been buying Party Light candles. Anybody know about Party Light? I just go back about 10, 20 years. But the fragrance was starting to bother me because allergies. So that led me to doing the soaps and things of that nature. But so yeah. ravenhacker@gmail.com, YouTube Ravenhacker. You can click on the little icon. I think I made a comment in the chat. I did, and I said hello all. And I think that'll take you to the channel. I don't know how it goes, but
Yeah,
anyway.
I know some people had asked last time you were here. I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry, last live, there was people asking how to contact you and stuff like that. So I don't know if that person's here this week, but there you go. I just want to make sure, put that out there. I didn't want to give any incorrect information. All right, a couple more here, and I think we're gonna wrap it up. A good comment by Tamika Hill. She says, speaking the truth, when you're alone, a lot of shit comes up. Yeah, because you're connecting with your real thoughts. I told you, I've given this, I've said this many times, a good example, real simple example. Okay, place yourself in a dark room with nothing, nothing, no candles, no incense, none of that stuff. Okay, and sit in silence and watch how in the beginning it could be a little bit complicated at first. Might be hard to focus because your mind starts wandering. Your real thoughts start to emerge. Some are scared. We described before being on this path, sitting in a dark room, and we feel this presence. Maybe as kids, we described as the boogeyman. You're the boogeyman. That boogeyman you're feeling in the room, that's the real you emerging. Because when there's nothing else there and it's just you, that's what starts to manifest. So that feeling that people describe, those that do, not all, I'm talking about those that maybe not familiar or on the path like that, that describe in a fearful way, that's their real self. Okay? That's what this is about. Getting connected with your real thoughts. No matter how bizarre some of them might appear to be, you need to, there's a reason why you think like that. Okay? And if you don't know how to connect like that, then it becomes a troublesome aspect of trying to be successful on the path, right?
But you got to stick at it. Just stay at it. Don't give up. That's it. Just stay at it. Nothing, a lot of things you tried for the first time didn't work.
That's correct. All right. I appreciate this comment by Kua. I'm going to skip the comments, but she says shadow work is no joke. Still working through it. Isolation is so important during the process. And then she gave me a shout out here. I appreciate it. She says Beniti's shadow work readings are really on point. Yeah, Tamika Hill, Beniti on point. Well, I appreciate that. And if anybody's interested in a shadow work reading, shoot me an email. So I see we had a sanctified in here that you kicked out, Raven.
I gave him, I woke up, I saw that, and I say boot. Okay. Gave him the boot.
See, he saw the title and he drank the Kool-Aid, huh? He
took the Kool-Aid. He took the Kool-Aid. He sipped it.
He sanctified.
But Ikua is right, so I'm going to back up to Ikua because they not even working, no more breath. Okay.
There you go.
Ikua is right. I've said that like 1,000 times whenever I come on here. Cause you know when someone is doing work, you don't have that need for, AKA, being around people. You're really dealing with yourself. It's that inwardness, dealing with that mind. That's a beast. That's all I can say. When you're truly wanting to make change, want to come to that spark, to have, that spark, that light, that kepara. When you want to get there, there you go. I agree with her or him. I think it's a she, right? Isn't it a she, if I remember correctly? Cool. Didn't she take a class?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. It's a young lady. Okay.
Well, now I also see here, funny. I see D. Samuel was getting on the sanctified. Take it easy, D. Samuel.
No, okay, yeah, I didn't see that.
I see him going in. I feel you. He put the laughing face with the tears.
Oh, okay, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Set the intrude, then put a tear face with a devil horn face. Yeah. Don't be careful. They're in here, man. Don't let the dogs loose. Dogs are loose. Don't let the dogs out. All right, what else we got here? Damn, this shit be skipping. You guys are loading this motherfucker up. All right, I'm gonna really breeze through. I'm just gonna look for questions. I'm gonna definitely breeze through all of the comments. I just don't have time right now. Shout out to Brother Angel Figueroa. Yes, he mentions about you also Jesus studying with the Essenes, true indeed. What else we got in there? Yes, Sethian, true. Yeah, I don't work with the Ninja Turtles, Michelangelo and Raphael and Donatello and Michaelo and Jello and Bello and Yellow. I don't work on that shit. I'm just having some fun tonight, man. Don't this. You remember the comedian Talent? One of my favorite comedians.
Yeah.
Remember how he used to say, "It's just comedy. Don't take it
Mhm.
personal." That's all. It's just comedy. I'm just having some fun. I'm having some fun. APL, can you make a video on Martinism? I am an initiated Martinist. I just don't talk about it a lot. I sure can. Going through the Rosicrucian order, which I have one more degree to finish, the 12th temple degree. Just a quest to finish it, which I started my journey with them in 2010 or 11. I can't remember. And I actually went through all of the Martinist degrees. So I most definitely, and it's funny you bring that up because about a year or so ago, I had thought doing a video on it. And now you just kind of reminded me that would actually be a pretty cool thing. Martinism is a very mystical path. There is some Hebrew mystic overtones to it, but that's very interesting you bring that up. That's definitely something I'll look into. All right. Good shot to XUL. Can you explain Homwawa and Pazuzu in relation to Tiamat's 11 children? And can you tie Rishkagel to explain their purposes in order? Basically, can you take it from top to bottom, tying them all in? Yes, I could. I actually did a video on that. There's a Tiamat video. But obviously now I'm getting ready to wrap this up. That would take a while to do that. Actually, on the last video, matter of fact, if you go into last video, which was I think it was 2 weeks ago, the Tiamat video. It's actually called, I forgot, Tiamat, the mother of.
Yeah, I just about to say that too. I think it's on that Tiamat video.
Yeah, it's in there. It's go to the video prior to this for the sake of time. And not only that, if you go back into earlier archives, roughly, I'm going to give you, let's say, about a year or so ago, just scan through it. You'll see another video connecting all that.
Yeah, it was Tiamat, the woman of chaos.
Yeah. We were just talking about that. So I don't know if you had a chance to watch that. Again, something I can revisit maybe. But again, that would take a while. There is a connection to all that. We were talking about on that video, the last one, the connection with Rishkagel, with Marduk, the slaying of Tiamat, the birth of the 11 children, what that actually represented, et cetera, et cetera. That's what the whole last video was on. So I'd check that out when you get a chance, okay? All right, what else we got? Ishara said, huge hamster wheel for Raven's cat. That cat don't need a hamster wheel. That cat needs a 18-wheeler truck wheel. Shit.
Okay, a cat is considered obese at 25 pounds.
And that cat's what? That cat's about 55 pounds.
He needs liposuction.
I wish I could show you guys her, but I don't feel like turning on my camera because I'm ornery like that.
We saw it that one time. We saw it that one time.
Yeah, she's over there chilling. She had to prop herself up on stuff. So now I had a box on the floor that I was straightening out my area over here, and she's propped up on that. Because I'm telling you, she's like if you lay down, you can't see her other legs. You just see the two that's on top. That's how big she is.
All right, people, well, check it out. You remember that old Mickey Mouse Club song back in the day? It's time to say goodbye.
No, we're not gonna do that. All right. So yeah. Don't forget, guys. The ritual tomorrow for those that need to know. Next Saturday, another class. The conference, the end of October 30th through the 1st. The Journey of the Black Adept. Twice. Okay.
Again, remember,
Kevin is going to be presenting. We're waiting to hear what Kev got to do.
Hey.
got a lot of presenters lined up, and it's almost filled.
We're going to throw Kevin out there. We
3-day
have
event.
some, it's a 3-day event. Well, it's 2 days
And then,
for
rituals and
people
classes.
to do, for classes. You want to presentate or you have a presentation or something. Let us know. Which email did you give? You give mine or did you give yours at the beginning?
No, I have the regular email there. But matter of fact, if you want to put yours in there, they can direct inquiries to you too.
Yeah, because I'll be the one putting people in slots. So I would like to know. That just stops the back and forth.
And before you came on, I did put the price out there for the 3-day event. It's $75. That covers all 3 days. That gets you connected to the rituals, the classes, the workshops. It covers all 3 days of the event. And roughly, we're looking at the time frame, kind of like how we did it, about 9 to 3, 9 to 4 on the day, Friday and Saturday. We will come back later in the evening around 8 o'clock for the rituals on Friday and Saturday. And then we finish out Sunday, late morning, early afternoon with a question and answer session. So it's a 3-day event, 2.5 roughly, but it's going to go over the length of 3 days. But that gives you access to all 3 days. If you want to sign up and register, shoot any one of the emails, ravenheck@gmail.com. The email in the description box. It can be paid for by PayPal. But again, just like all the other classes, when you do send your payment, please put your email, please, and your name. Because again, I hate to say this shit happens all the time. Somebody does it for them, or they use another PayPal. And then when the class or the event happens, I get an email, I didn't get my link. And then I say, what PayPal did you send it under? And I go look at it and I say, well, this is the email. Oh, that's not my email. That was the person that paid it for me. Well, I don't know that. You gotta make sure you give me the email. So if somebody,
you like baby Jesus. You're supposed to know.
But if somebody, that's fine. If somebody's going to send the payment for you, just tell them to put in the notes, please send the link to this email. So I don't send it to the wrong email. All right. All right. Very important. I know I say it all the time. There's a reason. I'm saying it all the time because it keeps happening, unfortunately. And believe me, I don't want that to happen. I want you, if you pay for something, I want you to get it. I don't want to find out the day of and right when the class or the ritual begins that you're looking for your link. So I got to keep stressing that hard. Okay. So yeah, you can send inquiries for that. Common sense. And then again, those on Patreon, we'll see you tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Necromancy Right of Ampu. Check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, BANITI. Other than that, you know where to contact us. I want to thank Raven and Kev, aka the Gamatra Wizard. Kev, we got to get you back on here to break down some more Gamatra. I think we're going to do that next time.
Yeah, sure. I have it updated now.
Kev is he's gonna tell you why you got 10 toes, and he's gonna correlate 10 toes to your birth date, and then that's gonna correlate to the year and date your mother was born, and the year and make of the Cadillac or the car that she drove. No, it's not. But no, Kev's serious. Kev's nasty with the Gamatra, man. He's got it down to a science. It's one of his many skills. And if you've seen he did a presentation last year at the conference. He's going to do one this year. He's done a video here. Check out the video in the archive. He's nasty with it. We've all learned. I've sat and listened to him break down some of the shit. And believe me, Gamatra is not my field of expertise. I understand a little bit about it with numbers and numerology, but he breaks it down. So check out the video in the archive and look forward to him. You know what day you're going to be doing your presentation in the conference? Friday, Saturday, or you don't know yet?
Any of those days, we'll see.
Okay. Well, he'll be in one of them slots. So if you missed it last year, you don't want to miss it this year. Very informative. But the thing that Kev does is he keeps it on a very neutral, straight to the point, non-spooky, non-religious approach. Because there is Gematria out there, but some people are fucking spooky as hell with it, or some people connect it too much to the Hebrew mysticism shit.
He incorporates a little bit of it, but he keeps it neutral, and that's what I like about it. So looking forward to that. All right, other than that, I thank you guys for coming. Couldn't get Jack connected. He must have been busy. I saw him in here earlier.
Freaking Jack.
I don't know. If
Oh, and also too, I'm sorry to cut y'all off, Benini, sorry about that. Also too, those for the ritual tomorrow, make sure you have your stuff together.
oh yeah.
We do have other lives. Okay, we do have other lives. And so I need y'all to have y'all together. Make sure you have your chalice.
I'll put a video up explaining.
You did awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So if review the instruction video, everything Raven's saying is in there. Preparation, what you need to be, what you need to bring. Real simple, not complicated. But like she said, have that shit ready so we can get to it. So if you are on the Patreon page, you are a member. I did post earlier this morning. It's called the preparation video for the Necromancy Rite of Ampu. It's about a 4.5, 5-minute video. It's a very short video, straight to the point, tells you what you need to do and how to be ready. Kev, remind me to send you the link if you want to be there. I don't know if you're available, but I'll send you the link.
What time is it tomorrow?
3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Make it.
All right, cool. All right. Other than that, appreciate you guys. Guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe, and we will talk soon. Brother Chico Martinez, I see you. So you sent me a message. I'm gonna send me an email to the email about the date and time you're available. I saw your message before I came on. All right, and then I'll respond back to your email. Okay. All right. Appreciate you guys. Infernal blessings to all, and we will talk soon.